right, here we go. Welcome to Third Coast Gaming Radio, Episode 1. Today is Monday, September 28th, 2020. And, well, this is our podcast. I'm here with Austin Taylor,
Hello.
video game enthusiast. And my name's Travis Doyle, and this is my podcast. This is our channel. Who knows? Could be anything. What's up, Austin? How's it going?
Oh, it's going well enough, all things considered.
Yeah. Since nobody knows who we are, let's get into a quick blurb. What kind of video games do you like, Austin?
Oh, video games. I like all kinds of them.
Like what, Austin?
I like the shooters. I play the ones where I get to shoot people because that's a thing I can do while listening to podcasts. I also do a lot of real-time strategy and RPGs.
Avid Witcher fan as well, as I've seen many times.
Yeah, it generally fits under the RPG umbrella. I was trying not to out myself just yet.
Oh yeah, sorry, I had to let the world know. How many times have you beaten The Witcher 3, Austin?
5.
All right, that's okay. I have like, here, let me see how much time I've wasted in Destiny 2.
Well, I mean, anytime you've put into Destiny 2 is... That's a bit mean.
Well, what was your first game console, Austin?
That would have been... Like, first one I played would have been my father's NES. First one I made, like, a active purchasing decision would be the Xbox 360.
Nice. I got a PS1 in like '99, and I got Spyro 2: Ripto's Rage and Jurassic Park: The Lost World video game, and got a PS2, and I think the first one I bought was a PS3. All right, hey, look at this: 716 hours in Destiny 1 and 238 hours in Destiny 2. So
Okay,
there
that's
we go.
fair.
Yeah, that's like 1,000 hours combined, and
Yeah.
I
It's not
play
like an
shooters.
everyday thing.
We're both Titanfall fans. Titanfall 2, great game. If you see it for $5, yeah. If you see it for $20, just buy it. It's cool.
That game should
If you
have
kids like
taken over
Apex
the world.
Legends, same developer. All right. Man, a lot of news this week. A lot of news the last 2 weeks. Since
It's pretty heavy.
since we're doing the first episode, I'm gonna do about 2 weeks of news. I got the list pulled up. Man, Microsoft really bought Bethesda for $7.5 billion. I can't believe it.
I mean, it's wild in just like the audacity of the move, I think more so than like the money.
Yeah, and Game Pass is being as big as it is for Microsoft, and how many, Xbox owners. I'm sure a large percentage of Xbox owners just use Game Pass, and most of those games are coming to Game Pass. Hey, Doom Eternal. I think one of the first games of this deal after it's made to come to Game Pass.
Yeah. No, they have a pretty good catalog of Bethesda stuff already on Game Pass, or at least on PC from what I've seen. But like Doom Eternal is the first one that's going to be added since this deal, and that's a pretty fair get.
Yeah, hey, it's a good game. It's a little long. I haven't beaten it yet. I love Doom 2016, and I should play more of it. When's it coming to Game Pass? It's heading to Game Pass on October 1st and on PC later this year. But back to the Microsoft buying Bethesda. Well, I think they were saying the plans right now are to put these games on both consoles, like PC, PS4, Xbox, still putting on them on everything. But, they're just trying to
I
read
don't.
this. Go on. Go for it.
Yeah, like I don't think their comments on it have moved past like the like on a case by case basis quote from Spencer. That's how they'll judge like where they put games. Like for the foreseeable future, like Sony is the PlayStation is still getting Ghostwire and Deathloop,
And those are both
right? And
exclusives, right?
yeah, those are both like timed exclusives on that console.
Okay.
Um, and so they're definitely gonna be putting like everything on like Xbox and PC. It is really like the Sony and probably like I think the systems that are more at risk of like losing access to Bethesda games are like Stadia.
Yeah, that's true. Stadia's not had the best time. For anyone who doesn't know what Stadia is, it's Google's streaming
Yeah,
service where you stream games to your computer and you can buy games. You can sign up for like a monthly fee, get some free games and a better connection, better resolution. Yeah, and Microsoft has their own streaming. I think it's just on Android right now, but sounds like it's got you can use Game Pass on there, and these are gonna be coming to it. So the biggest part of this Bethesda deal is that they're getting Bethesda Softworks, Fallout and Elder Scrolls. They're getting id Software, which is Doom, Rage, and Wolfenstein, the original Wolfenstein. I think they got Machine Games too.
yeah.
I don't have the full list in front of me. I know there's a couple more for that. But I don't know. Elder Scrolls, like Skyrim, is one of the biggest games selling. Who knows how many copies on every console, on every toaster you can think of. Like, if you have a tech device, Bethesda's putting Skyrim on there, and they have their live service games right now. Like, I know Elder Scrolls Online is very popular. Fallout 76, a little mixed, a little rough when it came out, but hopefully Microsoft getting in on this will. I'm hoping they're gonna not ship broken games anymore. That's been a thing for the last 10 years with Bethesda.
I mean, sure, maybe, but like that would require them to like kind of overhaul like the tech that they're using first and foremost. I don't know if like a publisher change is gonna prompt that.
Yeah, it'll definitely give them some leeway on like. I mean, obviously, you know, Bethesda's gonna be looking at their own games and making their own decisions on that stuff. But I'm sure Microsoft is gonna help them with capital.
I mean, yeah, like now Microsoft will probably be able to give Bethesda like that capital will probably make a difference because now they can actually invest some time into increasing or improving their tech that they're putting into their games. Hopefully.
Yeah, and I'm sure the extra capital will see stuff like Arcane Studios and its games and machine software games, which are part of the deal. So hey, we'll probably get a Wolfenstein 3 game now, which I'm into that.
Yeah, I think I mean at the very least they'll get better funding and hopefully like better marketing pushes. Because like
Yeah,
historically, games that aren't their Bethesda games have been like they have a few trailers, but their marketing has been pretty dismal, all things considered.
yeah, they usually push on, hey, we put Skyrim out again on your toaster this time or
Yeah,
your refrigerator.
I'm pretty sure in the E3 where they talked about it, they spent more time discussing like Skyrim Alexa
Oh yeah,
than they did like the Wolfenstein games or like Doom.
yeah, and I'm pretty into it. If it makes Game Pass a better service, that'll be cool. I just don't. I hope we don't see repercussions on like getting Bethesda's next big games for they'll probably come out on PS5 and Xbox. Maybe they'll just come out on Xbox. I'll have to see how the market's different in like 5 years after this move.
Yeah,
Starbound, Starfall. What's the new Bethesda game?
Starbound,
Yeah,
pretty sure.
Starbound. Yes, they put the trailer out that E3 and they showed us the title. along with Elder Scrolls 6.
Shows the title cards, those 2 big title card reveals. Like,
Mhm.
yes, we are indeed working on these games that
I-
you already knew about.
Gamers, don't worry about. We're putting them out. You don't need to have Reddit forums saying when are they going to talk about this game? When is Elder Scrolls 6 coming out? When's Skyrim
Todd,
2 coming out? Can I get
we got
Skyrim 2?
Todd to acknowledge them on stage where everything is fine.
Yeah. And they also got, they got Elder Scrolls Online, which has a very dedicated fan base, and I think as they put those DLCs out, people are really into that. Fallout 76, not as much. Still, a lot of people like it. Came out really busted. The whole bag fiasco. Was it people who pre-ordered that Ultimate Edition got a really bad canvas
Yeah,
bag
the Ultimate Edition
or
is
no
supposed to
canvas
come
bag?
with, it was supposed to, I think it's supposed to be a canvas bag, but it was this really cheap, like, plastic bag that you would, say, find in, like, I think it's more akin to, like, the reusable grocery bags.
Yeah.
It's supposed
If
to be a
anyone,
really cool, like, canvas bag.
I'll keep my power armor in this grocery bag. It'll be fine. If anyone wants to know about this, just look up Fallout 76 launched broken. You'll find a billion articles on it. And yeah, they invested in Bethesda. Well, hey, those games will come out. I want to see Prey. A bunch of games came out to Game Pass. Doom Eternal came. We'll see. I hope people start playing Prey. Maybe Prey 2. Maybe Prey 3.
Maybe
What's going
someone
on?
maybe someone at Microsoft is gonna, like, go through the archives of, like, Bethesda and find the old, like, Prey 2 that when they first advertised them, like, "Hey, you need to make this one."
It's going to be Prey semicolon Cyberpunk. We'll get that. And then, Fallout New Vegas 2. Maybe they'll
Uh,
put some life into some old franchises that haven't been there in a while.
I think I think I'm interested to see, like, what other studios will get to play around with, like, the Bethesda properties now. Like, I want to see Obsidian make another Fallout game. I don't necessarily need it to be a New Vegas 2, all things considered. Like, I like New Vegas a bit, but, like, I think a direct sequel is a bit iffy.
Yeah. Do you think I think they'll probably, the next Fallout, they could do a really big Fallout 5, or they could do a Fallout semicolon, I don't know, New Texas, New York. Futurama joke. But they could make a smaller game that's more like a Outer Wilds
Worlds.
Worlds, like an Outer Worlds that
Yeah.
Obsidian put out, where it's just like it's a smaller Fallout experience that's not as buggy.
Yeah, I mean, Worlds still had plenty of nonsense.
Also a Game Pass game. Day
Yeah,
one.
also something you can play on Game Pass. I recommend you play it on
Microsoft
Game Pass instead of
acquired
buying it. It's pretty bad.
Obsidian.
Um, I don't know. Like I remember there's an article that reminded me of these old rumors. Game Rant, which was back in like the glow of the success of New Vegas, people were like, "Oh, what is Obsidian going to work on another one?" Because at the time, people thought Bethesda was going to would let anyone else play with this property. Um, and there were rumors that Obsidian would be making a Fallout New Orleans.
That'd be pretty cool. But that game didn't get a good enough Metacritic score, I guess.
No, well, I mean, I I don't know what the internal situation was at like Bethesda or Zenimax at large. I was like, why aren't we letting anyone else touch these properties?
Yeah. What were the thing we were talking about? Microsoft's at like 32 developers now.
23 development studios in house.
Yeah, and we were saying Sony's at like 16. I need to
Like
find the
15 or
exact
16.
number. So they're making moves for the new console.
Yeah, I like if Microsoft wound up buying I don't know, BioWare they would pretty much own the Western RPG space aside from like CD Projekt.
True. I'm trying. I googled how many Sony first-party studios. Let me see. I was trying to. I googled it before that. Oh, they have 16 right now. They have 16. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you know, that's always been the race. Is who's got the first-party studios? Microsoft has Halo. Sony had, Spyro and Crash. Although those went their other ways with Activision after. But after that, it was Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper on PS2, Gran Turismo. And Nintendo's got Mario and Zelda and a bunch of stuff. Super Smash Brothers. Everybody in Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
That's been the race. Everybody's trying to get their marquee poster games. What was the whole thing? It was like Mario is like their mascot. Remember the mascot generation?
Yeah, back when like everyone had to have a mascot. And like
Platformer.
Mario was Nintendo's.
Sega had Sonic.
Sega had Sonic. Like Microsoft struggled to find anything other than like Master Chief.
Let me tell you about Blinks, the time cap.
Please don't. I already hate this.
Crash Bandicoot with Sony. Spyro with Sony. Those two probably sold the same amount. I like Spyro better because it's a 3D platformer. And it was my first video game I played. Maybe second or third. I don't know.
I mean, the only Crash game I ever played was like Wrath of the Titans.
I don't
and that
even
was
know
like
what that is.
that's like I don't think it's called Wrath of the Titans, but there's like some Crash Bandicoot game where I think it's it's a character action game where you fight these really big boys. And there came a point in time when Crash got a technology that gave him the ability to take over the big boys. And so Crash would ride these big boys and beat up a lot of other big boys.
Oh my god. It's
And
probably Rise of the Titans. You're probably right.
yeah,
That
Rise of
sounds
the
like
Titans or whatever that is.
Hey, I googled Crash PS2 character action. There's a Crash Bandicoot triple pack with Crash Nitro something, Crash Twisted Insanity, and Crash Tag Team Racing. Tag Team Racing, that's not a Double Dash ripoff at all. Wrath of Cortex.
Well, we need more.
He's in an Aliens mech suit from the end of Aliens. All right, I can't talk about Crash anymore. All right, Bethesda definitely got in with Microsoft. They're working together. Hey, Xbox Series S is $300. Xbox One X is $500, and maybe you can pay $15 a month for 2 years and get
It's
Game
just
Pass
called
and the
Crash of the
console.
Titans.
Crash of the Titans. Oh,
That's
Clash
all
of
it
the
was.
Titans, you mean.
Crash, yeah. No, it's Crash. Because of the Bandicoot. Because of our Bandicoot boy.
Okay. Hey, those games are coming out again. I'll play them. They played Crash Bandicoot and Uncharted 4. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a part of our culture.
That is my only interaction with like the original Crash Bandicoot games is in Uncharted 4.
All right. Hey man, Crash. I played Crash 3 a lot. It was you would time travel. I guess I closed my Gmail.
Well, now
I don't know. Any thoughts about Bethesda and Microsoft?
There was a really excellent point made by Gita Jackson over at Waypoint Radio, where like the Elder Scrolls as a series was one of the few like gaming events that happened that was independent of like either console publisher. And now it's not there.
Yeah, just it being like such a big game.
Yeah, like a
when that
big
game came out,
to come from a third party.
That game pushed through the normal gaming sphere into like Halo, like what Halo did, where it'll reach. I talked to random people at like a Starbucks, and they're like, "I'm a gamer. Let's talk about games." And they're like, "Man, I love Skyrim. I haven't played a lot of other video games, but that's one of my first video games I've played." And I was like,
"Yeah,
you mean the Elder Scrolls? Like you're talking about the sequel to Oblivion, right?" And they're like, "What's Oblivion?" I'm like, "Okay, then this game is bigger than I think it was."
I remember when Skyrim came out.
Sorry.
Yeah, like when Skyrim came out, I got it like a couple of weeks afterwards because I wanted to buy something and play something to keep me busy until Mass Effect 3 came out.
Mm,
Um, and my sister was attending Texas Tech, and she had just gone back for like the like yearly orientation she had to go through. Um, and she like while she was there, she was dating this guy who was so into Skyrim that like they didn't spend a lot of time together the
yeah.
week she was at Tech, and she was so angry and frustrated. And she and her friend Sam came back to our house, and I was upstairs playing Skyrim on the projector that we used to have. And as soon as she heard like the dragon song that comes on when like the dragons start flying around you, she got so angry.
You're just triggering her, Austin, it sounds
Yeah,
like.
yeah, she was young.
Gosh,
Yeah, like I was drinking some sort of stress, and like she just went off on me, and I didn't understand why.
that's funny. No, it and Microsoft, having that, I don't I don't know what's going on with the IPs, who owns the IP, but I'm sure Bethesda has it still. They purchased Zenimax, Bethesda's parent company Zenimax, and I don't know,
Yeah,
you know? That's
I mean,
like, hey, that's like Disney buying Star Wars. Let's get to the
it
real comparisons.
it's yeah, it is like of that same scale, like $3 billion more.
Yeah, 7.5 billion compared to Disney paying 4.5 billion for Star Wars.
I think 4.5 billion.
Yeah, yeah. Just got to buy out George Lucas.
No, I
But
mean, it's
yeah,
my understanding Lucas gave away most of that money,
yeah. Oh, that was nice of him. That's cool. I don't know
but
anything
that's
about
don't quote me on that.
it.
That was
Okay.
like that was hearsay. Like I just remember it's like, hey, I remember George did something okay with that money. I think.
Maybe, he's worried. He's got ILM
Yeah,
still. He's doing stuff.
George is George is fine.
Yeah, and I don't know. Big companies getting bigger can be scary, and Microsoft's as a whole, not just its gaming division, is bigger than Sony. But Sony's in the lead with the video games, so Microsoft is doing
Yeah, well, Sony's like
services.
leading hardware,
Yeah,
and I don't
maybe even
think.
software too. Like they probably sell more more copies of Call of Duty are probably sold on PlayStation than Microsoft
Maybe.
than Xbox.
Well, I mean, there's a good chance of that happening, just considering how much the PS4 like outnumbers the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a bit odd to think about. I think Microsoft really saw like the service like a breakout with like their service focus, or like when they announced Game Pass and started moving it onto like PC and such.
Yeah, Netflix is about what is it, $8 a month right now? Around that ballpark. So Game Pass
Right.
being $15 a month.
And
Game
that
Pass
depends on like
Ultimate,
the plan you have for
yeah.
Netflix.
Game Pass Ultimate's 15 for you can have online, PC and regular, or you can just get Game Pass by itself for $10 a month and have I don't know. I think over 100 games right now coming in and out, all the first parties. Halo's going to come out. You can play it day one on Game Pass. Forza. I'm guessing the games that are coming out under ZeniMax are going to be Bethesda, ZeniMax. Is ZeniMax a
Yeah.
company anymore? I don't know.
I, I think that's the thing. I don't think we'll know until like the deal is finalized in like
Yeah.
2021 next year or so. Then we'll see.
Oh, they acquired ZeniMax. So yeah, games under the ZeniMax umbrella are going to come to Game Pass day and date, except for the exclusives that are for Sony. Those deals got made already.
Yeah, Deathloop and Ghostwire.
I'm excited for Ghostwire.
I was really into Ghostwire until I saw the footage of that game.
Footage looks alright. I don't know. I like Evil Within 1 a lot, despite its flaws.
Yeah, I mean the
Taking
thing
roots
is,
from Resident Evil 4, I hear Evil Within 2 is way better, and I really want to play that. Just didn't even get around to it. But hey, I like that Resident Evil style, slower. Everything's running at you.
I mean that's not like what Ghostwire is though. Like Ghostwire really looks like it's
First person, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's a first person. Like it looks more like the remakes of like retro shooters that we've been getting. So like the Shadow Warrior shooters that have been coming out. The um, what was it that 3D Realms came out with? Ion Maiden.
Oh, Ion Maiden, I remember that.
Ion
Yeah.
Maiden got
Or
like
Serious Sam 4.
they had to rename Ion
Yeah.
Maiden because of like an iron lawsuit with Iron Maiden. Um, it's like it looks like it's gonna be like one of
I lost you, Austin.
it's gonna be like one of those that like
Alright.
plays around with like magic and such.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about that. We'll, we'll see some previews of it. Maybe it'll turn out better than what the original trailer is. They're still making that game, so it's not done yet, which
Yeah, they're
is
still making it. I know like the last news we got from it was that the creative lead left
oh yeah.
the project.
So hey, maybe Microsoft coming in, maybe they'll help out. Who knows? Only
Hey,
time will tell.
we know you're shipping to our competitor almost exclusively, but we're gonna help you make this as good as we can.
Because we're the good
Um,
guys. That's what their
yeah,
Twitter wants me to think, is that Microsoft's a good guy.
Phil is the only good guy in games, don't you know?
Oh yeah. You want to talk about the Sony event, the September showcase?
We can go through the Sony event.
Yeah. All right. September 16th. They're talking about games and hardware. You know, two consoles. PS5 is going to be $500. It comes out
That's with the
on
disk drive.
with the disk drive.
Without
Yes,
the disc, it's like 400.
400. I think it was November 17th. November 12th is when it's coming out. It looks like a Wi-Fi router. Because I didn't get to talk about that, and I wanted to say how weird it looks. It's also taller than like the first PS4. It's a very tall console.
It's taller than like any console. I don't
It's
think it
probably
takes up the same like spaces like the original Xbox One, but like it's taller than
yeah,
the original Xbox One, to my understanding.
and it's very sleek. The controller's sleek. They're going for that stylized kind of thing. I want to know what the console looks like when it boots up. Man, my PS4, it takes so long to install stuff, and it's laggy on the UI when I'm flipping between my storage and
Yeah.
trying to load up PSN. I It's not worth $500, but when a good game comes out for that, I'm gonna be ready, and I can play. You can play most of your PS4 games. Like 90% of your PS4 games are gonna be working on there. You can just re-download them.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be grabbing that within the next like year or two, but
Yeah.
I mean
Um.
if the production of it was like normal and I had the money, I'd
Oh.
probably buy it pretty quickly, honestly.
Yeah. It's the. It's probably this is usually what happens with these consoles. They come out, a bunch of people buy them. It's a shortage, and then later down the pipeline, they'll just be available in a Walmart,
Well, I mean, it's just like, like
GameStop.
production of it is naturally like given current situation,
Oh yes, the
production of it
COVID.
is a lot lower than it would have been otherwise. I don't think they could
Yeah.
have met demand without like even if COVID wasn't a thing, but like
Yeah.
it'd be
And
a
the
lot less crazy.
should be an interesting time. I'll wait till there's some cool games for it. Um, and hopefully it doesn't get a red ring type of situation that came up with the Xbox 360 where maybe it overheats, maybe it's got some problems.
Well, it's
You
got
don't
like
know until you put out those consoles into the wild. And how many did they say? 11 million consoles or 11 million consoles were made?
I don't I don't know about their production numbers. But hopefully it shouldn't overheat because it looks like it's mostly a fan and vents.
That's true. Um, I was hearing numbers that it was going to be 7.5 million. No. The PS4 sold 7.5 million. It looks like they're trying to make 10 million PS4s for launch, PS5s for launch.
Mm.
So hey, someone will pick them up. They got those accessories. There's the DualSense is $70, and they got that the camera that has 2 lenses on it that
And
you
the
can do.
DualSense is the controller, yeah.
Yeah, DualSense is the controller.
I don't know why they'd leave the DualShock name behind. It's so dumb sounding and
It's
good.
so iconic, though. It's so iconic. Just like, yeah, I like. Hey, it's still gonna have rumble in it. They just maybe it'll shoot some water at you too when you're driving around your boat. Who
The
knows?
speaker is just the speaker is just a water gun. So when you play Uncharted 4 on the PS5 and are going through the boat section, you'll just intermittently spurt water at you.
Yeah. So here it is. It's a HD camera with dual 1080p lenses for $60, and it'll work for VR or streaming to Twitch. It'll have an adapter for the old PS4. Games are going to be $70 too, which I mean, I think first party games are.
A few, not all of them, but like definitely Demon Souls is, the new Call of Duty is,
Yeah.
as well as like
FIFA, right? Too.
yeah, like NBA 2K.
Yeah. So hey, a lot of these companies were doing the. I remember on PS5 and 360, or PS3 and 360, it was you had to you had to pay $10 for an online pass if you bought a used game, or microtransactions as it is now with battle passes and uh, cosmetic loot, or even just loot boxes in general. Just trying to find a way to monetize. That's why FIFA is like one of EA's biggest selling games, is because let's say FIFA made $3 million. They also made $3 million in microtransactions in addition to selling the games. It was fake numbers, but they're even to each other for microtransactions. $70 though. Let me tell you about Game Pass. I don't buy games full price unless I need it.
Don't want to pay $70 for video games? Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, we got the services. You like Netflix? Here's Game Pass for video games.
Do you think if we just like say Game Pass enough, Phil will like sponsor this podcast?
I don't know. He could. I just have to tweet it, the Game Pass Twitter enough, and maybe I'll create an interaction there.
Good.
I have to send it a bunch of memes first. I don't know. Mash.
Yes, we can them with the memes, and then you go in for the kill.
Yeah, yeah. Miles Morales, that's gonna be 50, right?
Yeah, that's like 50. Because it's not a full game, as they've stated before. It's like akin to a Uncharted, Lost Legacy.
Yeah, and $50 on PS4 also, and then you can get the $60 or $70 version that comes with the base
With the
game as
first
well.
Spider-Man, yeah, the first Spider-Man game.
They were talking about some games. Demon Souls looks cool. I played that on PS3. I was seeing, oh, this game's coming from Japan and it's weird and it's very obtuse, and I was like, okay, that sounds like a challenge.
Heck yeah.
I'm into this no one Souls games hadn't even been titled that. It was just, man, Demon Souls is cool. I was at a party. Instead of drinking, I was playing Demon Souls. Don't you love video games, kids?
I mean, if I could find a way to be playing video games at any party that I was at, I would.
Yeah. And it looks pretty. It's got a bunch of new stuff. It's being developed by Bluepoint, who did Shadow of the Colossus, and you said the Uncharted HD pack before that?
Yeah, the Uncharted PS4, the Nathan Drake collection that landed on PS4, they upped the visuals and some of the gameplay elements for like Uncharted 1.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'd be down to replay through that again.
Yeah, it's like of the titles that are like calling to me on the PS5 is like really only Demon Souls. because like I can buy Miles Morales on my PS4. But Demon
Yeah.
Souls is like kind of for me the only big thing that's getting me.
And hey, I'll dig up my old copies of Demon Souls and I'll mail it to you. Hopefully, it doesn't get lost in the post.
I mean, honestly, if I was desperate enough, I would just do a PlayStation Now like subscription and stream a Demon Souls.
Yeah. Most of those PS3 games you can only stream, but the PS4 ones you can download. I think it's like $8 a month for PS Now right now.
I'll look it up after when we're done.
Yeah, $10 a month. Speaking of services on PlayStation, there's the PlayStation Plus collection for PS5. If you have PS Plus already, you get a bunch of best of hits from the PS4. I'm gonna run down the list real fast. God of War, Last of Us Remastered, Uncharted 4, Battlefield 1, Monster Hunter World, Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15, The Last Guardian, Ratchet and Clank, the PS4 one, Infamous Second Son, Days Gone, Bloodborne, Detroit Become Human, Batman Arkham Knight, Mortal Kombat X, Persona 5, Until Dawn, and Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. And these are all the base versions, not the Ultimate Editions or re-releases of them. So hey, the PS5 comes out November 12th, and here's some games you can play since there's only going to be a couple PS5 launch games like Godfall and Miles Morales, and
Demon
that there's that free game with the Astrobot.
Um, yeah, I can't remember the name of it. Like Demon Souls is also launch. Like most of the games they showed off on this in that September 16th stream were launch titles.
Oh,
They just didn't tell anyone.
yeah, I think Microsoft put out their prices, and Sony needed to get some information out about the price of it and what day it was coming out. So I think they're like, hey, here's some games because to show people why you need to get this, and then we'll give you the price
Yeah.
and
Well,
some other accessories.
the price of the Microsoft's Xbox Series S console leaked like entirely. So like the price of that too.
Right.
And then like the day after as a reaction to it, they've said like, yes, we're making this console, this is the price, and then they announced the price of their Xbox Series X.
Yeah. Hey, I got the launch window stuff. Sackboy's Big Adventure,
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Demon Souls, as you were saying, Godfall, Watch Dogs Legion, Dirt 5, Black Ops Cold War, Special Edition of DMC 5, and Fortnite, and Destruction All Stars. So, hey, they got those, and they got some older PS4 stuff. So you'll be playing something, but hey, it's also a new console for people who are in that position. That's cool.
Yeah.
I might pick it up and stream it. I don't know. We'll see what's going on. Oh, they had that God of War
Ragnarok
Ragnarok.
teaser. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, you were talking about Thor, right? Which Thor Ragnarok?
Well, I mean the movie Thor Ragnarok?
Yeah.
It's a dope
No.
movie.
Yeah.
But like yeah, no, it's a God of War like Ragnarok teaser.
Yeah. Hey, they're
Which
both
they teased.
Vikings.
Yeah, they teased at the end of like the last God of War game because like as you come back from the final bit, it's like Fimbulwinter approaches.
Oh my gosh, spoilers.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
okay. I'm
care.
joking. I'm joking. No,
I
I
know.
mean
Like
they did the thing Bethesda did. Hey, here's the name of the title. It's gonna come out. Here's some other stuff. Hogwarts Legacy got a trailer too. It's probably gonna be a service game. Harry Potter. It's on PS5 and Xbox and PC. And J.K. Rowling sucks, so I'd probably support the game, but I don't want to support her. So,
I just yeah, no, J.K. Rowling has ruined any like ability to be excited about this property for me, so I don't think much of it at this point.
yeah, I still have the movies, and that's a different creative crew of people who probably took a Sharpie through her books and was like, I don't need any of this weird J.K. Rowling stuff in here. I mean,
We
she
can't
said
we can't turn this into a 2-hour movie. Get rid of most of it.
J.K. Rowling notably transphobic and weirdly rewriting her books on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean it's like the stuff she does on Twitter is like when she's like the rewrites that she does on Twitter are, like kind of the least of it. It's just
Yeah.
nah, absolute mess of a human being.
Yeah, I'm not gonna buy those books new. I'll pick them up used on eBay. Final Fantasy 16, also coming to PS5.
Yep, Final
Not to
Fantasy
PC,
does. No, it's coming to PC
eventually.
eventually.
Unless they,
Not within like the time window or like the same window. I'm sure, but
yeah, I'm cool with going back to fantasy. Final Fantasy 15 was you had a car and you hang out with your homies and you
yeah,
and
right. So
the
you're just gonna do Final Fantasy: The Witcher 3.
might as well. Hey, like fantasy politics are really big from Game of Thrones. I think it's about time Final Fantasy got back to like how 1 and 2 originally were. I know a couple of the ones after that were also in Final Fantasy 9.
Yeah,
God,
I mean,
I'm curious about the score. I always like those soundtracks. Those soundtracks came to Spotify, and I got like 3 different playlists I got a playlist for 7, 10, and 12 where I pull my favorite tracks out.
I don't have a particular like fascination with Final Fantasy. Like the only Final Fantasy game I've ever really played is 7, um, the original, and like I don't know, I liked it. I definitely like abandoned that game for better part of 3 months at one point,
Yeah,
then came back
1997 was a long time ago. Also,
to it. Well, I mean, this was on the PS4.
yeah.
Like I was 1 when that game came out. I could not have played that game.
Oh yeah, I was 5. It's all right. I feel you.
Uh,
I think
but
Kingdom Hearts was my first introduction to Final Fantasy.
yeah.
Hey, they worked in the same studio. That's how they met, and they were like, "Hey, what if Final Officer Reese's found Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts collided?" And he was like, "All right, I'm gonna go sell this to people." That was a Family Guy reference, by the way.
What if we killed Goofy?
No, yeah, and what if Donald cast the strongest spell ever, which is Meteor Plus? Kingdom Hearts 3 is a whole thing. I like 1 and 2. 3 is pretty fun, but whatever. Final Fantasy 10 also cool. My dad's a giant whale. I'm angsty. Blitzball player Titus.
Oh,
Titus.
I was about to say, why'd your dad spend so much money on Final Fantasy X?
Oh, no, that was in 14.
Hmm.
Hmm. My dad's a whale. The story of Final Fantasy 14. Yeah. Final Fantasy 16 also was like, hey, this is running on a PC. The first thing to open the show was that, and I was like, okay, that's a way to go with that.
But it's emulating the PlayStation 5 experience, okay?
Yeah, I can emulate a PS5 on my PC. Can I buy that? Anything else from the showcase?
I really don't think so.
Yeah.
Like the PlayStation Plus collection is fine. I imagine like I would happily play like 3 of these on a PS5 if it had upgrades.
Yeah, Bloodborne would be cool on a PS5.
Oh yeah,
I still
Bloodborne
haven't
at
played that
60.
yet.
God, if they could get Bloodborne at 60 frames, that'd be so good.
Did it have problems when it first came out or something?
Bloodborne, when it first came out, the only problem I knew about it was that like the load times were really long.
Interesting. Hey, all right, this is news because it came out today, or technically 10 p.m. last night
Oh god.
on on PlayStation 4. It's Genshin Impact. All right, it's Breath of the Wild and some other stuff, and it's free to play, and it it it's made by a studio called, I don't know, I can't find the studio. MiHoYo, and their old game was a mobile game called where is it? It was like Impact Third. I don't know if you've seen the trailers on YouTube for it coming up a lot.
I guarantee you I haven't.
Well, I definitely saw it's Honkai Impact Third. Honkai Impact Third plays like a Devil May Cry game a little more. I was watching some gameplay for it, but I definitely downloaded Genshin Impact. I was playing some of it before we got on here, and it's a pretty game. It's coming to Switch, PS4, and PC. It's got cross save between PC and Switch. It's also coming to Android. There's a couple things with the UI where it looks like you could be touching it. They showed off a trailer in June 2019, and it definitely looked like Breath of the Wild. Like it has the stamina meter when you're climbing and stuff. How do you feel about it, Austin?
I mean, I don't have any feelings towards Genshin Impact particularly. I think I saw the trailer where like that lady was like climbing a sheer mountain, and I was like, oh wow, so they're just doing Breath of the Wild but with anime. All
Yeah,
right, I guess.
it also has an anime that is on Crunchyroll for the last 2 years. Apparently, like they've been seeding the story of this world for a while. I
The
guess they want this thing to hit.
Genshin expanded universe.
Yeah, of course.
Last thing I need.
I'm on the Wikipedia page here, and the game's developers have cited Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and the Grand Theft Auto series among their influences.
No.
Yeah, these are real things that were on there that they said. Honestly, the Breath of the Wild, what I see a lot of these game studios doing is they're finding the good aspects of games and they're replicating them to make their game good. You know, like hey, if the wheel's not broken, don't reinvent the wheel. It's got shrines that you go to and it opens up the map. It's got a stamina bar for climbing like in Breath of the Wild. It has the constellation system from Skyrim. But each character, there's multiple characters in your
So like
party.
the level tree constellation system?
Kind of. Each character so far only has one constellation, so you're gonna get 6 skills that you have to level up. And it's an RPG, It's an RPG Breath of the Wild where when you attack people, numbers come off and you have stat bonuses and you're leveling your character. But it's also free and has some microtransaction stuff. Like, okay, so my character, I jumped off a ledge with my character to see what happens when I died. And I had 10 revival eggs, like cooked eggs. So I had to use one to bring my character back. But you can switch to your other character when you die as well. So that's how they're monetizing it. But it's also a beautiful game that's free that
So they're monetizing it, but you have to buy eggs?
I think you're going to buy a bunch of stuff that are you see in like mobile games a lot because
Yeah,
that's what
because it seemed
their
like
other
a
game is.
currency that you can buy on the PlayStation Store. Like I know you can buy currency
Yeah.
for it.
So to revive myself, I had 10 cooked eggs, which was an item. Maybe I'll be able to make it later. I don't know. But that's how you revive one of your characters instead of it reloading your game. Maybe I'll have to die with both characters and see what happens. But the soundtrack too, it's got a lot of, like the like just exploring the world music of Breath of the Wild, like lots of
No.
flutes. Did you play Breath of the Wild?
I did, but I don't remember there being any particular like music accompaniment when I was just walking around.
Yeah. So the environmental music is very similar. It's flutes and strings, and I got a little Lord of the Rings vibes when the action was coming on, like a lot of the types of like violins and strings that are in some of the Lord of the Rings music.
That's okay. All right.
Yeah. It's free to play and I don't know. It's got like 90,000 viewers on Twitch. Came out last night. It's a video game. Hey,
Yeah. It is
maybe it'll be
certainly a
big.
video game.
Maybe it'll be the next Fortnite. It's free to play, and there's not a lot of games
No.
coming out right
Oh
now.
boy.
It's also a Chinese game company. I don't know. They started with like 7 developers, and they've been trying to make their games. The last game, Honkai Impact Third, came out October 2016, and that was a mobile and PC game. I think it has co-op too. I don't know.
No. You've already got me to re-download Destiny onto my PS4. I'm not doing this too. We can't. I can't. I have to draw the line here.
It's okay, Austin. But on to the next news. Tokyo Game Show had a couple games that were coming out. They showed off the Tokyo Game Show they were doing September 23rd to 27th. And I remember they had that Breath of the Wild Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity.
Yeah, and it's being made by the same dev studio that does like the good Dynasty Warriors
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, it's by the studio that did Hyrule Warriors, and like they're very clear, like in close partnership with Nintendo's, with the team that worked on Breath of the Wild.
And the world definitely looks the same. Like I was watching gameplay of the people running around, and
Yeah, like the aesthetic
it's
is
good.
very much Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, and it's canon too.
Yeah, because it's a prequel technically.
And then let's see. Monster Hunter Rise got announced too. That's a Switch only game, and I think it's partially Monster Hunter World's engine, and you have doggo partners now, in addition to your feline partners. And it's supposed to harken the more traditional Monster Hunter games that were on like 3DS and PSP. And I
Yeah,
love
so
Monster Hunter, so I'm probably gonna pre-order that. See, I'll pay full price for that because I'm a mark for Monster Hunter.
yeah, so I don't think like the main focus here is like co-op. Is the thing. Like, I'm sure they'll
I think it
still
has
have it
co-op.
for Rise, does it?
I
Because
think that
I thought that would be like the reason you give them like the dog companion is to be like, okay, we probably can't do like co-op in the same way that World did, so here's more AI to help you out.
so in World you could have 2 companions at the same time, 2 cat companions, but
Oh,
now
could
you can
you?
have a cat or a dog companion,
Okay,
and you
I
can.
only played enough of World to get like the one cat.
It's all right. I think it might have only been 1 World, but I know in the older games you could have 2 at the same time helping
Hmm.
you with a boss. But you can use the dog as a mount, like he has a saddle. I guess it's a very strong dog. It's a pretty big. He's like up to the character's neck. Like I'm watching some gameplay from this, and it's got the same map style of like the older games, but it looks like World a little more.
Hmm.
I'm pretty into it. I've played them all since Monster Hunter World Unite on PSP in like 2010. It was like one of the ones I played a lot, even a little bit before that. Too many hours. Hey, it's Capcom's best-selling game, Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, it did really well for him.
It probably made them not. I mean, if they didn't sell well, they might have, made
Yeah,
a
no,
deal with like Microsoft.
yeah, there's a version where like there's a world where like Capcom where Monster Hunter World didn't sell well, and like Capcom either like folded or is owned by like Microsoft or a Sony now.
Yeah, and that's what these studios will do. Is they'll make a lot of money off their game, and they'll start funding other games. Like I hope Lost Planet comes back at some point because that's one of my favorite game series. Lost Planet 1 and 2 specifically, not 3. Devil May Cry 5, looks beautiful. Resident Evil 2. I like Capcom. Near Replicant version 1.22474487139 coming April 2021 for PS5.
I really just get the sense that like
PS4.
for whatever reason they're just letting Yoko Taro do whatever he wants with these naming conventions, and it's
Sure. Put
kind
it
of
on a
the worst.
box.
Yeah, I don't know. Like he did the same thing with like Nier Automata DLC.
Yeah.
But this is like really, if I were to look at everything from Tokyo Game Show, this is probably the only thing that like grabs my eye.
Yeah. I definitely
Um,
bought Near Automata. I just need to actually beat it. I just fell off. I see
Yeah, I
you.
really.
I see the copy of it right now. I'm reaching for it. So is this a remake of the original Nier, or is this
This is
Automata?
so this is a re-release of Replicant, which is specifically the Japanese release of Nier. So when Nier came out, there were two versions. One Nier Gestalt, the second Nier Replicant. Nier Gestalt is the one that we got in the States and in the West. Um, and the
Oh,
important distinction here between those two copies is in Nier Gestalt, you play as like the core like plot of Nier is that this girl gets kidnapped, right? And in Nier Gestalt, you are her father. In Nier Replicant, you are her brother.
oh, the Nier we got, you could only play as Gestalt.
Yeah. So yeah, we only got Nier Gestalt here, uh,
Okay,
where we played
huh?
as the dad.
Because I bought Nier when it came out, like the first one on PS3. It hurt my head, and but I did a lot of fishing. That's what I remember. Then didn't think much of it after.
Yeah. Well, Nier
I'm
like
excited.
Gestalt is like specifically like a game about about like enacting parental violence
Yeah,
and like what does like personhood look like in a post-human world.
yeah. Whereas Automata is like more about. I think you know more about that than I do.
Well, I mean, Nier Automata is like specifically like mostly about like I would say focuses in on like the what personhood looks like in a
Yeah,
post-human world.
like when you're meeting like I remember you're meeting all the festival, and all the robots over there are celebrating, and you're like, oh yeah, they're people
Yeah.
too.
Well, like
They have humanity
the first like
or a soul. What is a
like
soul?
the first interaction you have with like robots in Nier Automata, like in the Route A, is you get to like a desert and then you're in like a sandpit and then you're in some like caved in building and all of the robots are mimicking like god damn these things are mimicking coitus.
Yeah,
And you being an android who, I do they bone? They might. Um they don't understand what's going on here.
yeah,
So you just start killing the robots.
yeah. There also has to be gameplay in there too. It it's a very there's so many things going on in Nier. Dynasty Wars 9 Empires got announced as well. That's a whole thing. I
Yeah,
don't know. I
it's
played 3 and 4 on the PS2. I'll go back and play them at some point.
it's one of those. I
Um,
mean, if I need a Three Kingdoms era game, I have Total War Three Kingdoms. I don't need
ah,
Dynasty Warriors. I don't need a Muso.
the guitar riffs though.
Yeah, that
Um,
is true.
Balan's Wonderland got announced. It's a new game by the Sonic creator, um, Yuji Naka. He also did Nights into Dreams.
Yeah,
That Cyberpunk thing came out for environment design. It's from their Night City Wire series. They looked at a little Resident Evil 8.
which is nothing that we didn't see in like the PlayStation
Yeah, some
showcase.
stuff came out. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory is getting a playable demo. I'll play that, and I'll have feelings after that. Ah, all right. What else happened?
Um,
Let's see.
Everything else at TGS, you have the Resident Evil Netflix show.
Oh,
Got a
I
teaser.
forgot about that. I hate those movies, but I need a TV show much more.
Well, I mean, like the animated stuff is also bad, but
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
much more
Infinite Darkness is what it's gonna be called.
yeah, I'm much more in the idea of like a bad like Resident Evil like show than I am like a uh those that movie series from like
Yeah,
Paul
I like the
Studios.
first two. The rest of them are just like do their own thing.
Yeah,
We're getting a Monster Hunter game too, a movie too.
yeah,
Can't wait.
yep. Also starring Mila Jovovich.
Yep. Uh,
Um,
New
oh my
hardware
god,
from Nintendo. Maybe we'll get a Switch HD. That's my next news article I got here for you.
Kinda. Yeah, the announcement that, like, yes, they're working on something new is kind of like, yeah, I mean, like, we've known that for a bit. They're not giving us anything particularly noteworthy in this drop. And they still, like, haven't confirmed, like, the plans of making, like, a beefier Switch, which,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't put a lot of stock in. I don't really need a beefier Switch.
yeah.
I just have a Switch Lite, and that's pretty fine for what I want.
I think they were talking this might be 4K compatible, but so they did say in a policy briefing last week that a new model will come out at some point in 20XX. Which, all right, those 2000s naming conventions, my favorite. It's gonna be in Mega Man. Let's go. Let's see, 4K. Obviously, Switch is one of the best-selling consoles. I think 20 million sales right now. That's what this article is saying. Um, and hey, the 3DS got discontinued recently as well. They're shifting their focus. I don't
It's
think they're making
about
new
time.
3DSs anymore. It's about time. I think the Switch came out 2-3 years ago. They want people on the Switch architecture because you got your portable games and your regular games. You can play your Pokemon on the Switch now.
Yeah,
Don't
I
need a
mean,
3DS anymore.
no, no, I don't. I'm surprised that they didn't, like, stop production of 3DS, like, much sooner. The fact that they were still, like, developing games between the Switch and 3DS was mind-boggling to me. I think, like, really, the last big release I noticed on the 3DS was Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, or they put that Metroid 2 on it. That remake of Metroid 2.
That's right, they did.
Yeah.
Which is just
And I don't know, my
it's
3DS has
weird.
been in a repair shop for 8 months, so I can't even play
Oh,
anything on
jeez.
there. It's a whole COVID hit and they were trying to
Yeah,
find replacement parts, and I'll get it back eventually. I just haven't worried about it. But I don't know, man. I liked
that's
my 3DS. I played way too much Animal Crossing on that, and not a, I played Pokemon decently.
oh, I'm sure if I had ever had a 3DS, I'd be a little sad about this, but I stopped with Nintendo handhelds after, like, the SP.
Oh wow, you didn't even get to the DS.
No, no.
DS was pretty good, man. Got some also. Both the DS and the 3DS both had a really good Mario Kart game. They could sit around with 4 people and just play Mario Kart in the same room. You can do that on a GameCube, but you can't screen share on a
Yeah,
portable console.
the only time I missed, like, not having a DS was, like, in high school, I had friends who would, whip out their DS, and they would just, they played Mario Kart, like, during
Mm.
lunch, and, like, they
See,
were, like, kind enough to pass it on to me every
uh,
so often, like, they would like, the loser would pass it on to whoever wasn't playing.
I think my friends and I, we all had PSPs
Mm,
playing Monster Freedom Unite during lunch. The beefy PSP with
yeah,
its giant battery pack and
that was gonna
4-hour lifespan.
revolutionize handheld.
Yeah, hey, it was a good handheld. I wish they should have done more with the Vita, but you know,
Oh, they definitely
I
should
can look
have.
at my Vita right now and tell you I miss you. They should have put more games on it. Also, didn't buy a Vita at launch. I didn't. I bought a Vita after they stopped making them really cheap, so I
Mm.
didn't support them. I wanted Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on the Vita, and they never did it. So
Oh, that
whatever.
would've been great.
Yeah, that would have been
Or it could
Grand
have
Theft
been
Auto
great,
Vice
man.
City Stories and Liberty City Stories, both cool games. Oh, and the other reason the Vita didn't do well is because Monster Hunter really only came to the 3DS, and Monster
Ah,
Hunter in Japan is like one of the best-selling games and pushes hardware. So the 3DS got that Monster Hunter push.
and the Vita did not.
No, no. The
Oh,
Vita eventually did, but it was just kind of too late. Everyone was already playing Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate and Monster Hunter 4 on the 3DS. But yeah, I don't know. I like portable consoles. It's cool that the Switch does both. That's probably why it's one of the best-selling consoles. And Breath of the Wild came out
Yeah.
at launch. Good
Also,
game.
it's just
Good game.
relatively cheap, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Breath of the Wild is good.
Switch Lite doing good.
Never, yeah. Switch Lite is what I have, and I'd have to say it was not a bad purchase. Even though like I haven't touched it in a while since I got like back
Yeah.
home to like my like to like sent to my computer and like PlayStation. Like I haven't touched my Switch, but like while I was up in Lubbock attending classes at Texas Tech, it was good to have a light because I could just like play a video game, and then eventually my hands would cramp, and so I'd have to stop playing video games for like a day or two, and that would push me to like read books.
Books are good.
Yeah, no, books are great. Like that's the only reason. That's the only reason I read like the Name of the Wind finally, and
Hmm. Is that a Witcher
like
book?
some other stuff. No, the Name of the Wind is the first book in the King Killer Chronicle by which is supposed to be a trilogy of books by Patrick Throffus, and I think he's currently working on the third.
Oh, cool. Maybe I'll have to look it up. Let me
It's
borrow it.
yeah, I mean it's a good book. I kind of struggle to like formulate into words like how I feel about it because it is like kind of a mess in some real ways, but I think overall it's a really interesting fantasy novel.
Yeah. All right, I got some quick hits, and we'll take a short break after this. Is Blizzard co-founder Mike Morhaime launches a new game studio, Dreamhaven, and some other. Was it one more studio under it?
Yeah, so they have two studios. My dog's going crazy. Um,
Moonshot's the other one. It looks like,
yeah. So I
and
think it's
Secret
like
Door.
yeah, so it's they have like three companies. One of them is the publisher,
Hmm.
and like they're the two studios that work under it. So Moonshot and Secret Door, they're two studios. Dreamhaven is the publisher.
Yeah, and it looks like they left Activision in 2018, and now they're announcing their studio. Hey, I'm sure he was working a lot on World of Warcraft. I don't have the biggest Blizzard background, but I know of the games they put out.
Yeah, no, this is a lot of the people working. My understanding is a lot of the people who they've attracted to this company have heavy experience in like Warcraft and Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Um, there's notably an absence of like people boasting about their like Overwatch experience, like working that. So I think they're kind of trying to declare some sort of intentionality here
All right.
as like what type of games they want to be making with the company.
True. I'm excited to see what they have coming next. I think I never got into Blizzard games except for Overwatch, but you know,
Yeah.
they have a really good pedigree. I hope they do some stuff. Hey, here's the next quick hit. Metal Gear Solid and other Konami classics are coming to GOG. That's a
Yeah.
really hey, besides emulating games, that's a good way for people to play them on PC, whether or not you like Konami.
I mean, it's kind of the only way to play them on PC. Like if these are ports of re-releases of like old ports of these games. So like to my understanding is they're not particularly like up to date. Some of the control aspect of them, like how they control, is not particularly good. Um, and I don't know. It's surprising to me that these like were released onto GOG at this point in
Hmm.
time. Because my understanding is Konami's like more or less ditched everything like about like their games and development, and it was interesting to see to just wake up on Monday and be like, oh hey, you could buy Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 and Metal Gear.
Oh yeah, the
As well
original
as
NES, right?
yeah, the original Metal Gear,
Because Metal
as
Gear
well
Solid is a 3D game because it's a solid character.
yeah, and then like a number of Castlevania games
Yeah, it looks
and
like
like
it's
two Contra titles.
Castlevania, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, Castlevania 3, and then Contra and and Super C.
Yeah,
So for Metal Gear Solid, it's Metal Gear's 2 Subsistence,
Yeah,
which
Metal Gear
has a
Solid 2
whi-
Subsistence.
yeah, which has some added stuff and some VR missions and like Metal Gear 1. I know Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence has like a 3D camera. That's when they updated that game. That's like their ultimate version of it.
Yeah, so, like, the Subsistence were the, like, updated versions of 2 and 3, like, with
Yeah.
2, it adds in, like, a lot of VR elements because that's, like, a whole thing with Ryan is that the main character of that game is that he was trained virtually,
Yeah.
um, and then you
To be the
have
best Snake. He is
yeah,
Snake too.
and then with Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence just, like, changed the camera and made that game a lot better.
Yeah, it made it playable in
Yeah.
whatever year it came out in. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear 1, and basically Metal Gear Solid 1 and Metal Gear Solid 2 Subsistence pretty much. So that's cool. Maybe I'll play 2 again. I played all those. I was at GameStop and there was my frequent like cashier was always telling me to buy them. And then they made a 3-pack for PS2 that had 1, 2, and 3. He's like, "You should buy these. They're my favorite games." He was always talking about them. So I
Yeah.
picked them up and I played through 3 first
Oh,
because my
no.
friend played it and really liked it, and I just wanted to put camouflage on Snake. And then I played 1 and 2, and
Yeah.
then 4 came out on PS3.
Yeah, because my friend and I's, first exposure to Metal Gear Solid was, like, in Super Smash Brothers Brawl,
Oh my
and
gosh,
the day we
advertising.
yeah, the day we got out of 5th grade was, like, the day we got out of 5th grade, like, the final day of school. After that, him, me, him, and his mom went to GameStop, and he just ended up buying the 3-pack of Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, same pack. Yeah, I have that on my shelf staring at it.
Yeah, I don't know if he owns it anymore. He and his dad, he and his dad sold his dad's PS2 to get a PS3, um, so that way he could play Metal Gear Solid 4.
Hey, Metal Gear Solid 4, really good third-person shooter with a really good camera.
Sure.
Hey, I think 2007 was a big year. I think that was 2007. 2008, yeah. Guns of the Patriots. Hey man,
Yeah. I mean,
PS3 launch title, right?
yeah, it was a game. It was the only game he had on that system for years. Um,
Yeah. Cell processor. A bunch of games came out for that, but a bunch of studios like Kingdom Hearts 3 and The Last Guardian both skipped the PS3, even though they were probably supposed to come out on there.
oh,
But
Last Guardian was
development took forever.
definitely supposed to be like a PS3 title.
Yeah. But hey, good stuff. All right, back on the lightning round. There was leak images of the Xperia 2 Sony PlayStation phone.
Ah, what
I
is
think the
this?
Xperia 2 was supposed to come out in it might have been 2011. I just remember the Xperia. They launched it and they're like, "Hey, if you buy this, you get Crash Bandicoot with it for free."
Yeah, I had a
Man,
I had a friend who had that phone.
that was cool, man. It had the same setup as like a PSP Go, where you slide the screen open, you play some video games on it. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
phones don't
They
look this cool anymore.
no, and like mobile gaming in your phone would probably have been better selling than stuff on the Vita. But by that time, people would rather have an iPhone or their Samsung or their LG with stuff. I don't think Google Pixel was out yet with Google's phones, but
No.
I don't know. Sony might have been a little too late. Maybe didn't make enough games. Maybe the processing wasn't there for that type of game.
Oh, you're
Most people just
definitely too
wanted the
late.
touchscreen stuff anyway. Like Like, if at that time Nintendo put out a phone and was like, "Hey, Mario 64 is just on this phone for free, and it's the same type of controller," that probably would have sold pretty well. I don't know if it would have you would have to keep backing it up with stuff, but
I mean,
there's a market.
I don't know if anything could have, like, toppled Apple at the time. Like,
Yeah,
I think it is like, to say that this could have done better if it had been released early is kind of underselling, like, the promise of like ubiquity that like Apple was selling and following through on far better than like Sony ever followed through on providing like mobile games or
Yeah,
like
and now it
support
seems
for
like
this type of thing.
even Nintendo now, they're putting Mario Kart, Mario, Fire Emblem, Animal Crossing on iPhone and Android. So don't make the hardware, just put your software on it. You'll make some money. You'll make a business. People
Yeah.
love that Fire Emblem, that Animal Crossing. The Animal Crossing has too many microtransactions, and it kind of cuts away from the core stuff I like about it. But
Oh yeah, you can make money if you put stuff on, iOS. Just don't, try to sell your currency through a third-party site to get
I
more money.
wonder who you're talking about.
That's some that's some
Fortnite.
humor.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
All right, speaking of, I'm not going to get into Fortnite, but
Yeah.
Fortnite made a bunch of money on those. That was probably one of their best decisions, same as PUBG. But speaking of Animal Crossing, the Halloween update's coming out, Austin. I'm so ready to get spoopy in my village.
Oh boy, you're gonna be so spoopy.
Yeah. Oh, and they're going to get a RingCon adventure item in the fall update too, so I can have a RingCon in my in my house.
You can finally get a ring con.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah,
I've
I
been
never could have gotten it from GameStop before. Now I can just have one.
looking for this forever, and now I can have it in Animal Crossing. Just another
Yeah,
way I can emulate my better life
it's true. It's
in
true.
Animal Crossing.
So Animal Crossing is 365 days a year. It has events like Halloween, Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving. It's a real time clock, so it's the same time as it is in the real world. You can fast forward it. And it's kind of like a sim, you're getting furniture and stuff. But yeah, they're doing their Halloween thing. You're going to be collecting Halloween themed furniture on October 31st. You're going to be trick or treating. It's spooky. You can look like a little vampire and you can scare people. I'm so ready, Austin. I can grow pumpkins. I'm so happy. I
Wow.
love
When
New Horizons. I've been playing it for like 6 months straight.
when real life fails us, New Horizons will be there to pick us back up.
Yeah, and I think Animal Crossing is the best selling Switch game right now because it's a good game and because COVID hit at the same time.
Yeah, like it's really fortuitous release timing for Nintendo.
Yeah. Did you watch the trailer?
For New Horizons, the Halloween update? No, I saw
Yeah.
Halloween update and I was like, oh, there's a little jack-o'-lantern head. That's really all I
It's
need to
so
know.
adorable. Just take a look at look at him. Hee hee ho ho, I'm Jack, the reigning czar of Halloween. This is a text he's saying for this audio podcast. I'm so ready. Jack is
Yes,
cool because he just has a
that's
pumpkin head and he gives you furniture.
that's the royal title that that they should really be attaching themselves to, Czar.
Yeah, someone in
Nothing.
the English translation team was like, "Hey, this is what we should do for this. This is what
Yeah, this
we should have him say. It's fine.
a
It's
royal title
Halloween."
with no negative connotations.
No, none at all. But I want to
People
talk
love
about the
czars.
pumpkins, Austin. I'm so happy about the pumpkins. I'm gonna decorate my town with so many pumpkins and pumpkin furniture and pumpkin, pumpkin spice. Oh, pumpkin spice! You can change your eye color now to be spooky. So ready. I think I have like 300 hours in that game.
Huh.
You should get it. You should
No,
get
I
it when
won't.
it's on sale. It'll never be on
I
sale.
I don't think I will. I will buy Pokemon Let's Go Eevee before I buy Animal Crossing.
Man, let's go Eevees even. Let's go
I
Eeve's the
just
whole thing.
I just want to pet the Eevee.
Yeah, that's true. I'm
I don't
surprised you didn't get that when it came out because I bought
I
Pikachu so fast.
I didn't own a Switch.
Yeah.
At the time, I was just like, oh, like
Ah.
for a while, that was like my pinned tweet on my Twitter was just like
Oh yes.
the Eevee, like a video of someone petting an Eevee.
Such a
I had to
good.
change it when I interned during my internship at the Express News, because one of the editors was like, "Austin, what is your Twitter even?" I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "What is this?" I said, "That's an Eevee, and they're petting the Eevee, and it's really cute." She's like,
You
"Austin,
know
this
about
doesn't."
Remember when Pokemon came out 20 years ago in 1999 and the
You know
world
what an
blew up?
Eevee is, yes? You know the Pokemania.
See, if that was a Pikachu, no one would have had a problem, Austin.
Exactly. If it was the
Nobody knows who the
Pikachu,
fuck Eevee is.
yeah, I know that's the problem. Eevee's always been the best.
Yeah, I mean, I have a fixation on Umbreon and Espeon because of Pokemon Coliseum on the GameCube.
Yeah.
But yeah, quick Animal Crossing hit. I've played every one of them since the GameCube, and I love that series. Good times. I played the first game for like a year and a half every day, just hanging out for like half an hour. It's basically a mobile game where you have to check in on your events and make sure you don't get weeds.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Animal. It makes me happy. Back on the
Back on
lightning
what is
round.
supposed to be a lightning round.
Lightning round. Hey, lightning round. Got to get through these quick. Left 4 Dead 4 gets a final update on
Left 4
Steam.
Dead 4?
Left 4 Dead 2. What am I saying?
They made 2 more. They didn't tell anyone.
We've been recording for too long, Austin.
We're getting
Left 4
punchy.
Dead 2: The Last Stand.
Yeah.
First new content since 2012, and it's fan made.
Which is
Right?
wild. Yeah. I think the last content they got was also fan made. The Dead Harvest
Really?
was also a mod that Valve was like, yeah, we'll make this official stuff.
Okay.
Um,
And it's got Left 4 1 stuff in it. Left 4 Dead 1 stuff in it. Left 4
yeah,
1.
Left 4 one, yes. Yeah, because now Left 4 Dead 2 is just like the best place to play Left 4 Dead 1 is Left 4 Dead 2 because Left 4 Dead 2
Yeah.
has like all of Left 4 Dead 1 stuff in it. But yeah,
And it's got a bunch of new animations too, apparently, and like 20 new survival maps for PvP stuff.
yeah, so there's a lot of PvP focus here. There's like a few new weapons. There's a new there's a new campaign that you can go through, which is like it's a lot smaller than like the other campaigns in the game. It's just like 2 chapters instead of 4. Um, it's not a great campaign, all things considered. But I also didn't play it I played it solo last night, not co-op, which is the
Oh,
real problem.
you played it last night in
Yeah,
preparation for this news article.
I went through it last night. I was like, I might as well play like the Last Stand map.
Interesting.
Because like survival is their horde mode, and I didn't really do that. But yeah, I played the campaign that got added into it. It's just a 2 chapter thing. It's really hard because they
I'll
just
have to mess
spawn
around with it.
they spawn a lot of like special infected, specifically the chargers who will like throw you into a wall, pin you, and just start slamming you. The smokers who like wrap a tongue around you and constrict you and slowly drag you to a ledge or strangle you.
Yeah, I think I was playing Left 4 Dead 1 a month ago just because my friend was playing some PC games and we both had it. Hey, does Left 4 Dead have do they have hats in Left 4 Dead?
I mean,
Can I buy
there's
hats like in
the
Team Fortress 2?
character Bill has a
Uh-huh.
beret.
Okay. Can I buy
Um,
a red beret or a
the
blue beret?
character Ellis has a baseball cap.
Oh, okay.
I
No
don't
hat,
know. I
no
don't think
black
so.
market hat economy in Left 4 Dead confirmed.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think there's a hat economy in Left 4 Dead 2.
but man, Orange Box. No, Orange Box didn't have Left 4 Dead in it. What I'm talking about, they just put out Left 4 Dead 2 for the 360. It was a good time. Even Left 4 Dead 1 was on 360, right?
Yeah. Both the Left 4 Dead games are on 360.
Good
Because
times.
that's when Valve made video games.
Of course, and not
Which
Dota packs.
I don't know if we can say that anymore because Half-Life Alyx is a thing.
Yeah, and they made that Dota Underlords,
Yeah,
or
the
that might have been
battle
those other
chess
guys. I know there's something going on
or
with
auto
that.
chess, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, we need to go take our first break because we've been going for a little bit, and we had to re-record something because it got lost in the void of time. So we'll be back. So we're back from our break, and Hey, now we're gonna talk about what games we've been playing. Austin, I know you've been playing Hades. What's going on with that game? It's by Supergiant, right?
Yeah. So Hades is Supergiant's fourth game. Supergiant previously developed Bastion for the Xbox Live Arcade, Transistor for the PlayStation 4, and Pyre. Um, so Hades is their attempt at a roguelike action game, kind of like in some way in a vein of like Diablo, but like not about say collecting loot as much as you are collecting on every run. You're collecting powers, boons from like the various Greek gods. Who,
Oh,
by the way, and I
is
feel like
that
we
a
need to
thing?
get this out of
I
the way first,
haven't.
considering like
Oh,
the
yeah,
conversation around
hot
this game.
God.
Everyone in this game
This
is very
is.
hot. Every that
Hmm.
is like I will, yeah. The dominant conversation around this game is for the most part that like everyone in
Because
this
she's a
video game is
Karen.
very hot, except like maybe Karen, who's like a skeleton man. Um,
Oh.
no, no,
Okay,
no. The
Kyron.
No, it's the dude
Okay, I thought
who
you said Karen, like the
the
name. All right,
ferryman between
as
on
you
the
were
River
saying.
Styx. Chiron, I think, is actually like Chiron is the yeah yeah. No, it's just there's just someone named Karen in here. Yeah. So it's about you. You're playing as son of Hades, a fellow by the name of Zach, uh, who is attempting
God, it looks like a super
to
hot game too. Jeez,
fight his
like the
way out of
walking
the
animation
underworld.
alone.
Uh, and
It's a little floaty.
yeah, it's they're saying like every all their games have this sort of isometric camera that like hangs over everything. Yeah, and like in all their environments, they do have this thing where like a lot of their environments are like abstracted in a way that allows the camera to focus on like each individual room you're in as if it was a platform by itself. Um, and this was like fundamental within like the text of Bastion and Transistor and Empire too. Um, and within this like game, the justification there is that like you're in these chambers because they're always constantly changing because there's no direct way out of Hades.
So this is on
It's very
Switch,
labyrinthian in
PS4,
that way.
PC right now.
I think so. Like it's on. Like I have it on the Epic Game Store. It's also on Steam. It's on the Switch.
So yeah, so it is a roguelite.
Oh,
Like you're
I
dying
don't
and
know about
coming
its
back to do
console
runs. Is it
releases.
randomized at all?
Yeah. So every chamber is random, as well as like the upgrades you get for every chamber, right? So, um, like the game opens and you'll get a boon from a god. I think it's like the same first boon as like Athena, and like Athena's upgrades
And those carry
are
from
like your attacks can
like
now deflect
okay, do they
range
carry over when you
incoming
die,
ranged
or do you
attacks,
keep it
right?
when you die?
So that like from room to room. No, when you die, you lose just about everything. The only things you keep when you die are crystals called darkness. Um, you also keep nectar, which is a gift item that you can give to characters around the House of Hades. You keep keys, which allow you to unlock
Oh, so here we
in the
go.
beginning of the game
It's on
weapons and
Epic,
some other
Mac
stuff
OS, and Switch
once
on
you've unlocked all
September
the weapons
17th, and then it's
and
coming out
gems.
for others. I don't know if it's coming out for PS4, but it was early access in December 2018 also, so they've been working on it. Even yeah, after early access.
Yeah, they've
It
been
seems
working on it
beautiful.
for
I've been
about
hearing
2 years,
people have been raving about it.
close to 2 years now.
Like the gameplay is apparently like polished, one of the most polished and
It's
well put together Supergiant
Yeah, it's great.
games.
Definitely, it is like I asked people on a Discord server about this game when it was like once it had released because everyone was talking about it, and the best way I've ever heard this game's described is like it plays
Hmm.
like
Yeah, I remember really
Bastion,
liking Bastion when
but
it
if
first
the
came out.
gameplay and world were polished enough to really support that
So I'm excited for.
type of
Yeah,
game.
I might pick it up too.
Yeah, I think it's worth picking up, especially on the Epic Game Store because for now. because they just got Rocket League on the Epic Game Store, and for some reason there is a coupon. You get a $10
Hmm.
coupon at the Epic Game Store when you just claim
So it's just
Rocket League,
$10 off, right?
which you can use on any game that's priced above $15.99. Yeah, so it's $10 off. So I was able to get Hades for like for $50 off. So until for the first 30 days of
Seems
them
cool. How
having
far are you
Rocket
in
League
it?
on the
How
store,
many
you'll
how
get a
many
ten
times have
dollar
you died,
coupon.
and how many bosses have you killed?
Ooh, that's quite a few. I don't have like my specific death counter. I know it's above like 20 at this point. I've gotten up to Elysium, so that is the third boss that you'll fight on the run, like the third major boss you'll fight on the run. Is in Elysium, and before that you have Tartarus and Asphodel, each like with their own like different boss. And the thing is I'm at the point now where the game almost constantly feeding in like new mechanics is the other thing, and like they're doing it in such a way that is far more, I think, digestible than like it's ever been in Supergiant games. Because with Pyre, there would just come a point in time where you would get pulled aside and someone explained to your character, oh, you can activate these like star boons to give you some benefits and like make the game a bit more difficult. And you just get all of them immediately, and I was very overwhelmed with that Empire, as well as just like the fact I wasn't particularly great at the gameplay of it, at the difficulty I was playing, so I never interacted with those. But everything in Hades is far more manageable, is like a bit slower to get to you, and like as the pace everything's getting to me, it's like energizing in a way. Like it's keeping me from like getting bored of this game, which
Yeah, it looks
I
like
didn't
it
think
has a
was
good
gonna
loop.
happen anyway, but it's easier to look at this game and understand why I play it. Yeah, no, the loop
Was
is good.
Bastion a roguelite too?
Sort of
Or was that you
go in,
progressed and
kill,
okay.
die,
That was a straight up
do it again.
campaign. Yeah, I remember the commentary as you're going
No,
through. And people comment
no,
like when
Bastion
you
is not.
die, bosses will be like,
No.
"Hey, this is like the seventh time you faced me or whatever." So it seems like there's a persistent thing because you're in Hades and you're dying, so they put that in the story.
Yeah. You're being yeah, so like the first boss you fight is
Oh, from
one
Hercules,
of the
right?
Furies. Her name is Meg. Um that's her like nickname. Yeah. So you fight one of the Furies, and I guess like within the
Yeah.
fiction, like she and like Zagreus used to like, used to date. Is what it seems like that main tension there is like they used to date, and like I guess at some point he decided
Yeah.
like
As one
because of what
should.
he's doing, they just don't anymore, and they're both pretty like bitter about it. Um yeah, and so like as you like continuously encounter Meg, she'll like
That's
just
funny.
get so tired of beating you around the arena for the first few times. Until eventually you beat her and she's like, "How? What?"
Hmm.
And once you like beat her boss fight the first time, she starts showing up in Hades, like in the house that you spawn in the court of Hades.
Okay, and like
And so that then you could start talking to her and like
I
having
had some
actual
other
interactions with her.
questions. They
And it's
so you're using bow and arrows, swords, and you have abilities that you're attacking people with, right? Like kind of go into it about that.
sure. So you have one Titan killing weapon that you can equip. They get equipped at any point. Then the game starts. You have a sword. And once you get to like your weapon courtyard, the first time you die, you see that there are like two other weapons that are locked. One of them being a spear and a shield. Um, and every weapon has like
Can I
these two
throw the
weapons, like they have
shield?
very different
Ah, yes.
move
Captain
sets. Like the
America,
shield
throw
is,
the shield.
I think, has like an
Good
infinite block.
into it.
Uh, you do throw the shield. You do a Captain America. Um, and you can also like throw the spear. and like the differences between like the spear throw and the shield throw is like you throw the shield and it bounces between like a few enemies and then comes back to you. You throw the spear and it like goes through enemies and you can pull it back
Okay.
after you've thrown it, and it will go back through the enemies like and do more damage to them if it hits them on the way back. Then like after a few more runs, you unlock the other like 3 weapons, which are this
A
bow and
gun?
arrow,
Devil May
set of
Cry? Question
gauntlets,
mark.
and a gun. A gun? Question mark.
I guess there's an
There
arms
just
race
comes a
in
point
the
where like
Greek
Zachary's
world
right
at some
unlocked a
point.
gun. I was like,
Who
oh,
knows?
okay. Comes a point where yeah, you have a gun at some point. It's just pretty wild because like right before that I had unlocked
Does it do the
the
same thing the
gauntlets and I
bow
was
and
just
arrow
like
does, where it
punching
like
everyone, and
draws a
next thing I
line in
knew
front
I
of
could
you and you shoot it, or is it
equip a gun.
like
Um, yeah, like it. No, like the bow and arrow is like far more like you have to be intentional with where you want to fire the bow, where you want to fire an arrow from the bow. It's easy to aim it and everything. The gun,
okay?
you press
There's a lot of.
from
I'm
the
sure there's a lot
X,
of weapon variety.
and
Like,
it
how
just
much
starts
stuff have you
firing in a
encountered so
line
far?
in
Like
front of
different
you.
weapons, because it's a roguelite. You're kind of doing each run a little differently. You're picking up different stuff. Mhm.
You have those 6 base weapons. The thing that gives them variety is during each run you can find hammers of Daedalus,
Hmm.
who is a legendary smith within Greek mythology, and that allows you to upgrade aspects of the weapon. So like for the gun, the adamant rail is what it's called, but we'll just call it the gun. I
Hmm.
unlocked an upgrade that made every projectile fired from it seek out an enemy. So I could just be standing on the complete opposite of like the map and just be firing projectiles that just curve around me and 2 enemies without even having to like line up a shot. Um, with like melee weapons, a lot of it is like he changes like the attack pattern. Like with the sword, instead of your normal
Okay.
slashes, you get like a that does twice as much damage as like your normal slash would do. That sort of thing. Um, and then like you pair that with like the boons from gods. So, like I spoke about Athena stuff, which like lets you deflect projectiles. Like for comparison, like there's also Zeus, and really the most useful upgrade I've ever gotten from Zeus was like your normal attack. So you have like your light, heavy attack, you have your dash, and you have like your magic cast ability. Uh, like so
I'm into
from
it.
Zeus, he has a boon that will make your normal attack shoot
Oh, chain
lightning
lightning. There's a
that
magic card that's
goes
called chain lightning.
onto other enemies. So it's like a chain
Sorry.
lightning ability. Um,
Go on.
yeah, and no, it's it's on the same subject. Um, and like with the sword, it's a pretty alright ability, chain lightning, like because it lightning shoots out and hits other enemies around you. It doesn't necessarily do that much damage.
Yeah.
But with like the gauntlets, you attack so fast with those goddamn fists
Yeah.
that the chain
So
lightning
you're just like
is
clearing stuff out.
ridiculous because the chain lightning hits the person that you just punched
I'm
as
into it.
well as enemies around
I don't
them.
want to play this really bad.
So yeah, I'm clearing dudes out
The art style's
with
cool
that
in and out.
ability.
Like when people are talking, it's like that
It's great.
caricature
It's
of
a great
them. I
game.
mean, their lips don't move, but it's like
Um,
that super giant thing where it's just very detailed drawing. And then in the gameplay, you're running around. It's very colorful. Like I'm looking at the first. I think this is the underworld. Is the
yeah.
first area, or is it called Hades? Tartarus. Mhm.
No, it's called Tartarus, right? So you're in like the
It looks
hell is
really
called like the
green.
underworld
There's a
is
bunch
called
of like
Hades.
bright green
Um,
stuff.
but like you start off like in the levels of the
I might
underworld,
be looking at
and
Elysium
uh,
then.
but
Maybe no, it's just there's a
you
bunch
might
of
be looking at
green
Elysium
pillars that had like
if it looks like grassy.
souls coming out of it. Okay.
Oh, then
Anyway,
that's
sorry. Not to derail you, but yeah, no, I'm into it.
I think it's
And
probably Tartarus.
all the character it reminds me of Dream Daddy a little bit, where all the characters are done really well. Like Lord Hades got this big old beard and he's got these fucking rings on his fists. Like he's looked like he's ready to punch some fools. He's got like a skull on his shoulder.
Dude, Hades,
Like I hear Dionysus is pretty cool too.
it's ridiculous. Like everyone in that game is
He's just your drunk uncle or something.
God. They're all
Yeah, as the
yeah. He's
Greek
like
gods
your
were. That's a
drunk
whole thing in Greek
cousin. He's
mythology.
like
I remember
pretty
taking it in
horny.
middle school.
Yeah, and like everyone, like they all have like different aspects. Like
Ah,
Zeus is like taking on their like the personality of like the cool
bruh.
responsible uncle,
Aphrodite
or like the
constantly
responsible
flirting with
uncle, and
you.
like Poseidon's like the cool like hang ten
Oh
dude
yeah, it's fine.
who like
As she is. That's how it was in God of
Aphrodite
War. Nope.
knew the
If it
whole
ain't broke,
time,
don't fix it.
always flirting with you.
I don't know if she's got naked. I can't remember. That was God of War 3. Anyway, Greek mythology. I love it. I my old username before my current one was Hades on a bunch of stuff because edgy kids are way into Hades, and there's that book series. I don't know. Hypnos
Yeah,
looks
yeah,
chill.
Hades.
He's green. Dusa, the duty bound Gorgon.
Yeah, like just slow. Yeah, Deuce is great.
Oh, and she's just a floating Medusa
She's
head,
like
right?
she's the cleaner of like the house you're in, and she's like yeah, she's a floating Medusa head. She's nervous all the time. She clearly has a crush on your character.
Oh, Prince, I didn't see you
Like the
there.
first time you talk to her, like hearts flutter out of her character portrait,
That's,
and she's so
it seems like this game
yeah,
has a
and
lot
she's
of
just so
charm.
nervous, and she just like floats up into the ceiling and leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I was afraid like
Because Pyre was
wouldn't be
mostly
in
like
there
serious
because
about its
I was not
weird
particularly into
games
Pyre.
and the people trying to
Um,
survive, right?
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing about Pyre is like you're like trying to win at these rights to get your players back in accepted back into the civilization that exiled them, so that way they can lead a revolution. Um,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah,
overthrow
seems
the
pretty cool.
society that
Seems like
just,
should be good on your watch list.
kicked
Any closing
all of you
thoughts on
out.
Hades before we move on? What did
Um, it is like it's like continually evolving. Like they're still doing work on it. They've just like done their like 1.0 release.
see? Officially came out
Um,
1.0
and I mean, it's exciting
mm,
stuff.
September 17th. Yeah, about a week ago. Seems rad. I'll say because I kept seeing you play it, and I was like, I need to play this so we can talk about it. And I was like, Genshin Impact came out, and I started messing with that and a little bit of Forza Horizon. So I'm gonna talk about Genshin Impact for a little bit. Man,
Yeah,
okay, so Genshin Impact's free. First of all, you don't need PlayStation
yeah.
Plus to play it. You just download it, and I think it's free on PC right now. I haven't checked my Switch yet to see if they threw it on there. But so the game just opens, and it's like, hey, choose your character. You get to choose the male archetype character or the female archetype character, and the boss basically has both of them shackled, and the one you pick is the one who gets free. So you're trying to save your sister the whole game. So the game opens with you trying to find your sister, and there's like, and then you land on Earth pretty much, or they're equivalent to Earth, whatever the story is for that area. And you're kind of met by like a fairy type character, kind of like from Legend of Zelda when who's the one from Ocarina who's always like, hey, so it's kind of like a Navi character, but she's also your she'll be talking to you and she'll comment
Navi.
on stuff and she'll be funny in cutscenes. And she's like, hey, here's this open world. Who are you? You seem kind of strong. And she's gonna go help you find your sister. But the whole game opens up and you just land and it just looks like Breath of the Wild. And the first thing you see ahead of you when you land is basically a statue that's the tower equivalent of Breath of the Wild that like opens up the map. The music's even like it. And there's a whole RPG system. Like I opened up the pause screen, and it's very similar to mobile games. So you have equipment for characters that are swords and bows and all of that stuff, and they each have a star ranking. And the stuff you have is 1 star because you just started. Eventually, you get 3-star stuff. Have you played a lot of mobile games, Austin? Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what how the star rankings are in those games? Yeah, so
I played a few,
hey, maybe you can buy some later. Most of it seems to be coming from drops. Like I'm opening
more or less.
chests. Like there's there's enemy camps with basically their creatures, and they have a sword and a shield, and I kill them all and I can open the chest. And this kind of feels like an MMO light where there's a bunch of things in the world to do, and you're getting gear and you're getting skill points. Like you have an experience bar that levels up when you kill enemies and you complete quests, like you do in an RPG. But instead of having like I want to compare this to like that Korean MMO that's pretty popular on PS4. Let me see. I was playing it. So Black Desert Online.
No.
I think it's Black Desert. Might be Black Desert or another one. Okay, so
I've heard
it's
of that
just
one.
it's kind of set up like an MMO where you have these open world, and it's a little jankier. Like it's not as fine tuned as Breath of the Wild. Like no, not Blade and Soul. There's the PS4 MMO that
You mean Blade and Soul?
had a bunch of DLCs coming out for it. Maybe it is Black. It's yeah, it was Black Desert Online. Yeah. Yeah, because Black Desert is really
Oh, is it Black
janky when
Desert?
you get
Okay.
into it, and there's a lot of when you create after you create your character, it's giving you all these screens that are popping up, telling you about all these updates and where you need to go. And this game is a lot more simplified. It's just like, hey, here's the first mission in your tutorial. It's going to teach you to do a couple things, and the world's kind of open to where like you're picking up apples on the ground because you can eat them to get your health back, and you can cut down trees, you can break rocks for materials. Like this game is lifting a bunch of things from a bunch of different games and then does its own thing at the same time. Because the way characters interact with each other is more like an anime. It's kind of cheesy and they make a bunch of jokes. But it's doing the open world of Zelda, and then like the RPG systems of more like a Skyrim where you're investing points and things and you're leveling up a lot more. Yeah, I'm interested in playing a lot of it. I played about 3 hours of it. I got a
Alright.
glider. Yep. So you can, but they're wings instead, because you're like an
Ah.
angel or something. I don't know. There was a dragon that attacked me in the very beginning, and then I
Okay,
did
sure.
like a
Yeah.
like an like a flying, like I was basically flying around shooting at the dragon with my reticle to defeat it. And I was like, this is not like anything else I've played in this game. And then the dragon caused this huge storm to come in. The whole environment changed to night, and there's a bunch of like I could see like cyclones in the distance, and it has a pretty good draw distance. There, to where you can see the environment when it's raining and all this different stuff. But it feels like an MMO, and you have a party too. I met some girl. Her name was Amber, and she's an archer. So my character is a sword class, and I have a wind ability that I can push enemies. And then there's some elemental stuff. So I pick up Amber, and
Yeah,
she's an
I do.
archer, and she has like some fire abilities.
Okay.
So on the D-pad, I can switch between it. Up is my main character, and I can press right to switch to Amber. And they both have their own health and skill trees. But you click it, and it just auto switches you to them. Like it just pulls the model out and puts the model back in. And so you're doing like, so there was a Breath of the Wild thing where like you go up to an enemy camp. There's a bunch of enemies. There's like a fire around them, and then there's like a sniper tower. So I would switch to Amber, shoot the enemy in the tower, kill him, and then kill the rest of the enemies, like kind of like you would in Breath of the Wild. So there's a lot of those gameplay loops that are from that. What would you like to know about this game, Austin?
I guess like because you said you only gotten 3 hours into it, so like you haven't like
No, I
encountered
don't. I don't think I've
many of
hit.
like
I know they're selling currency in the store, but I don't think I've hit anything
the
yet.
in-game like transactions. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're actually just.
And
I
this is
thought it
you
was
said this is
co-op in
like
the
a
beginning because
party.
I
This
saw
is
a
like
party
a
screen, but it's
you're
actually. I
building a
think
party
it's.
here. Yeah.
You can get 4 characters in your party, and I think you're switching them out.
All right. So you have like a understanding of
I'm
you
guessing
said like the
there's going to
basic
be
premise like you're trying to save your
an evil
siblings. Like do you have
Ganon-like
like an
boss that you
understanding
have to
like where this
fight.
game is going
You're
after
okay.
that?
There are shrines in this game. There's just a dungeon, and you go into it, and it
Ah.
transports you to another area, and you have this. And the music sounds like the shrines from Breath of the Wild too, but it's up against a cliff face instead of like an individual shrine that's like coming out of the ground. And you go in there and you solve a puzzle and you get an orb from the end and use that to level up your character. Like they are not fooling around that this is kind of a Breath of the Wild.
Mhm.
Like a lot of this game is pulled from what makes that game really good. I mean, there's a lot of really good stuff in Breath of the Wild that not a lot of other games have done. I think it's I think it's smart that they did that. They don't have to test. Yeah, sorry, go for it.
Yeah. I mean, like we're definitely. Yeah. I mean, we're at the point where like we're gonna start seeing more games that like want to copy or like not copy, but like iterate on like what Breath of the Wild did. You know, like Ubisoft's
Oh,
developing
I forgot about
Risen,
Risen. I remember Risen and
which
this
is just
having
like a
trailers. I
Breath of
just
the
thought
Wild like game,
there
but
was
with
only
Greek
one Breath of the Wild
mythology.
clone, but there's 2.
There can be only one. Uh, yeah, and like and building games like of that scale takes time. So like we're gonna start seeing those sort of. And we saw another one come out recently, like
Well, this has been pretty successful. Hey,
on
it's on PS4.
PC, Wind
Breath of the Wild's not on PS4.
something.
I think this game's rated E or rated T. I'm pretty sure a bunch of people are going to pick it up. When I was looking at these news articles for this, I was seeing trailers for Genshin Impact. So I don't know if Google's listening to me right now or what, but I guess they're putting some advertising money into it. I saw a Twitter post, "Hey, here's a free game." That's the best way to advertise it. Apex did it. Fortnite did it. We got you
Hello,
with this
you
game.
want this? You want a game and you want a free one? Well, here you go.
You know it.
It's like
It
The
kind of
Legend of
works,
Zelda:
man.
Breath of
Like
the
I
Wild,
watch a
but
decent
now
amount of
we have
anime. I'm into
anime.
the. You can do Japanese voice acting, English voice acting. There's no English subtitles yet for like in the world running around when a character will say something, but like it's very relaxing to be in the world.
Hmm.
Just like you are in Zelda, where the wind's just blowing and you're seeing animals running around. And like, I mean, they put the work in to make the world, and you can climb everything. There's 24 playable characters also. What? I'm on their Wikipedia page. So yeah, there's 24 different people. Um,
Hmm.
it's gonna be
Okay.
multiplayer at some point. I don't know if I've
I know you're on the
unlocked it yet, but
Wikipedia.
I think you can. There's probably gonna be raids later where you're doing your MMO team where you're getting 4 people together to go do something. Like it's an MMO light in a certain way. Like it's gonna be a co-op free game, which those do very well. And it's not just gonna do big here. It'll probably do really big in China and Japan and anywhere.
Yeah. So is it like
Yeah,
I guess like the other
it's
thing that
very
like makes
relaxing.
me
when I'm not
Like I like
in
about Breath of the
combat with
Wild, like
people,
specifically, it's like, is
like
it
the
pretty like
music's very
chill
soothing,
so far?
and I'm just walking around exploring. You're just exploring stuff. There's puzzles hidden around. There's like you can cook. Like you go to a campfire and you pick a couple materials and you cook something. There's no weapon durability loss. All your weapons last forever. You have infinite arrows. It's more like a looter where you're trying to create the max damage per second, so it's not going to restrict you on like arrows. Yeah, pretty relaxing. I went to a town, like they have towns, which Breath of the Wild didn't really have. They had some towns in Breath of the Wild, but I think
Cool.
there's more. Like I got to a castle and
Oh.
I went to the equivalent of like a guild where they were telling me, hey, there's this dragon, I need you to go to these shrines. So it had me learn how to do the shrines. And it's got some puzzly mechanics. Like there's one I went to, there's a chest in the middle and it's locked by an aura. And there's 4 totems. And you have to shoot all 4 totems with a fire arrow. And then it'll open. And then some mobs will spawn too. I think so. I was shooting arrows at it already, so I might. I don't know if
Do you
it's.
think
It
you're
was
gonna
like a
kill a
dragon
dragon
and it
in
had
this
like
game?
6 wings, like 2 rows of 3 wings on each side,
Mm.
and it looks pretty. Like it doesn't look as like the textures aren't as modeled as well as the Breath of the Wild ones, but it runs pretty well on a PS4. It seems like it's hitting 30 just fine. There's a little bit of jank, a little bit of open world jank, but I don't think it's not running a server, an MMO server where you have all these people running around. It's just your experience, and maybe you can invite some people later. The MMO, the menus are a little MMO. Like there's like 6 different. I hit pause and there's like 10 different things I can go into, like my character screen, news, my inbox. I have an inbox, and they'll give me items for being for signing up for the game. I have not encountered it yet. I don't think there's
So
a
like, is
social
there a
space. I
social
think it's
space,
just
like a
a
dedicated social space
open
in
world
it yet?
video game that
That
has
you've
some
encountered?
co-op in it, but it has like an inbox, so it's blending. It's like a service game that's an open world game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Cool. I'll dig some more time into it.
That's interesting.
All right. What else are you playing, Austin?
Yeah, those are all the questions I had about that.
Man,
You
I
know,
want to play that.
Crusader Kings
Yeah.
3 came out a while ago, and I didn't really like it that much. And I think it's just my resistance to wanting to learn about learning a new poorly done menu
Oh yeah, you
system.
played.
Um,
I got a notes here saying you
so
played
that pushed
Medieval
me back
2,
into the
Three
Total War
Kingdoms,
games
and
pretty
Troy. Are
hard.
those all DLCs or are those standalone games?
Yeah. So like these are all like standalone games. The only DLC I played was like specifically in Troy. They released these like Troy released on the Epic Game Store this year in back in August. For the first day it was out, it was free, which is the only reason I bought it. And they just released their free DLC, the Amazon's DLC, which is about the 2 like Amazon factions that came to the aid of Troy during the Greek invasion.
I think I've done that before, where you're
So I've more
looking
or
at
less spent like the past
why
week
I like
going in
these
between
games, and you're
these
kind of
3
remember.
games.
You're getting a little nostalgia trip too, right?
Uh,
So I'm presuming.
yeah, because like Medieval 2, I played a long time ago. Like there was a solid like month where my family and I were living with my cousins in Virginia, and we would my cousin Bryce, my brother, and I would almost constantly like battle each other in like Medieval 2, using like the computer that Bryce had in his room and the computer that was downstairs in like my aunt's office. Um, we'd fight each other in Medieval
Oh
2. I
no.
never won any of those because all I knew to do was like make a really big army, and so I'd only ever recruit peasants, and then the peasants would be broken by their much against their much stronger foes, and it would just lead to like a solid like 10 minutes of like the peasants running at knights
So I'm
being
guessing you picked these up
completely
because you
devastated
couldn't
and
get
then
into
being broken and running
Crusader Kings
away.
3.
Yeah, I picked these like back up because like Crusader Kings 3 is just it's all menu based, and I had a really
That sounds
big
like a lot of work.
snafu in
That's all
Crusader
I'm gonna
Kings
say.
3 where I was the king of Ireland, and yeah, it's a whole lot of work, and I was capturing a territory in Northern Ireland that I I really wanted, and the fella I was sieging at the time, called in his ally, who owned like the county in Ireland between my territory and my now new territory. So now I was in war with some other dude who had been called into this conflict, and this fellow's army came up to my new territory. I whipped his butt, and then he fled to his territory, then started fleeing down to my to my kingdom, and so I had to muster my army and move it down from my new county to my kingdom. And
Oh.
we just had this weird like yakety sax thing where I would chase him down to my kingdom, he'd run back up to my new county, and I'd chase him over there. And we fought like
Hmm.
5 times. I won each fight, but I never destroyed his army, and eventually led to the death of my son, which completely ruined all of my plans for like how I was building up my dynasty. Uh,
Oh yeah.
so
I
then I got
hear
angry with
from what
Crusader
I
Kings 3, and I
heard
said, "You
from
know
the little
what?
bit
You
I
never did this to me.
heard in
Total War
Waypoint
3
Radio
Kingdom."
is that it's easier to start as a duchy or a county because when you're a king, you're spinning like 20 plates at the same time.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're spinning all these plates, and like you're constantly being accosted by like your bishop because he's like, I am not
The bishop is never happy.
how faithless you are, and I'm like, well,
Oh
okay, well,
gosh. All right. I don't know
assassination
anything
works.
about Age of
um
Empire. Was it? Did you say Age of
and so I
Empires
went
or
through
is
like
it
3 bishops as King
Total
Brian.
War?
um
Total War also like a
it's Total War.
fighting armies, mustering armies. Not really like a four. Not like a civilization where you're getting politics points and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's like, well, there is and there isn't. Like you have campaigns, right? And uh like the main campaigns, and like I'll base this with Three Kingdoms. Like Three Kingdoms starts out in campaigns where you were playing as like the different sort of the
Who?
literary figures
Oh.
of like the characters in the Three Kingdoms novels, like Zhao Zhao,
Oh, Lubu is a
Dong Zhuo,
motherfucker. Lubu
Lu
in Dynasty
Bu,
Warriors is a motherfucker too.
and Lu Bu. Lu Bu's a motherfucker.
He
I'll
just
tell you
murders.
about him
He
later.
just destroys everything. He's
Yeah,
the baddest dude. He works with Cao
yeah,
Cao, doesn't he? Right?
um, yeah, yeah. No, no. Lu Bu works with Dong Zhuo. Um, like within the historical fiction of the uh Three
Oh
Kingdoms
yeah.
like book, Lu Bu is Dong Zhuo's adopted son, who then kills him because he mistreats who the person who does become Lu Bu's wife. I forget her name because like within like Three Kingdoms, Total War Three Kingdoms,
Now, what
she's
faction is
just a
he?
footnote really, which is really disappointing. But
I
I
can
do
never
forget
remember
her
the
name.
three kingdoms factions.
So well, it's
Yeah.
in the basis of like Total War Three Kingdoms. Lu Bu starts out on like the side of the Han Empire, basically. And then eventually, like he kills Dong Zhuo, and then he
Okay.
um creates his own faction, like within Total War. So you do have like political machinations happening in these games, like various degrees of success. Like within Medieval 2, I don't really care about the political machinations because I'm just going to take over all of you
Oh,
anyway
because
with
he's on
my
his
like
own thing.
unstoppable
Because
armies,
my
papal states, baby.
knowledge of
And
those is there's. Tell me if this is true or not. Is usually there's the Shu, the Wei, and
yeah,
the
so
Wu, right? Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's
within
fighting
Three
again.
Kingdoms.
He's starting his own thing. Boo boo. The motherfucker.
Yeah, he tries to start his own thing. Yeah, the piece of crap. Um, and so like political machinations in Medieval 2 aren't that important. But like within Three Kingdoms, it's significantly more important. Because like everyone's forming alliances. If you're lucky, you can form a military alliance with like Liu Bei, who will eventually agree to become your vassal because he just loves to be vassalized like that by everyone. See, now my favorite thing within like within Total War Three Kingdoms is the Yellow Turban Rebellion. Yeah, so I recently downloaded their Yellow Turban, not the Yellow Turban, but their Mandate of Heaven DLC, which is about the events that took place like right before the original starting point of the game. Basically, that detail the fall of the Han Empire and allow you to play as like the founding like Yellow Turban factions.
Yeah. I took a class that taught us about the mandate of heaven, that it's the right granted by heaven for this king to rule, and sometimes a new king would show up and be like, "Hey, I'm supposed to be the king."
Yeah, and so like the whole setup within like the Mandate of Heaven, that the Yellow Turban Rebellion that you playing as is these three brothers, is that like the Han Rebellion the Han Empire has proven that it is unfit to rule China,
Hmm.
and you are waging a war for the moral soul of China and for its people. And you are just this, you are just this unstoppable wave of peasant revolts. That like your objective is to within the campaign to win this campaign. Your objective is to hold 50 territories in China.
Dang. I wonder if they actually did that and when that was happening.
I mean, I don't think it did. I'm pretty sure the Yellow Turban failed. I don't feel like it got this far. Because like within the game, you're a pretty unstoppable faction. Like your units break easily, kind of like easier compared to
Yeah.
like higher skilled units. But like you can negate that with hero abilities and such.
Yeah.
And
So, quick fun fact: the Yellow Turban Rebellion lasted for about 20 years till it was fully suppressed in 205 AD.
yeah,
Wow, whole thing. China's a big place, and they were probably messing around with a bunch of different territories.
yeah. Like it never got to like the height of like what it can get to in Three Kingdoms. Or
Hmm.
it's almost like assuredly going to get to in Three Kingdoms. The Illustrated Rebellion is also like a faction that you mess around with in like the main game or the base game. But all it is in there is like if there is a low amount of approval of your dynasty within those territories within your empire, then there's just like a Yellow Turban Rebellion faction shows up and is pretty like it's like a few hundred people, and it'll get stronger if you just let it fester. So all you really have to do is raise like one retinue of people, and one retinue is like a hero and 6 combat units of like a couple hundred fellas, and you just go into that camp and you could destroy them all very easily. Um, like what the Mandate of Heaven DLC introduces, like the El Turban Rebellion starts off in a much better place, can build much quicker, has like central factions um, to like claim territory, and is like unstoppable once it gets momentum.
Hmm. I I think if I were to play one of these Total War games, I would do. Did they have one for? Yeah, I'd probably do the Troy or some playing with some Spartans, because 300
Yeah,
is a cool movie.
well, it's not like the Spartans aren't like they are in 300 Troy. So
Yeah,
like in reference to Troy, like Spartans are kind of just another faction. Like there's nothing particularly special about them in that way. Like there's no Gerard Butlers.
yeah. Are you
The
playing a
like
Caesar in that, or is that a
no,
different time period?
that's a very different time period. This is
Okay.
long
Oh, Troy
before.
is Greek and
Yeah,
Caesar's Rome. Yeah.
yeah.
I would try to
I
do the Rome thing where you just, we're Rome, we're gonna capture as much as we can. Oh no, it fell. I wonder why.
Yeah, well, see, that's what you play Total War Rome for.
All right. I'll play that one time.
Um,
That'd be a fun
I
thing.
w I will say if any of these are, like, pretty user-friendly or, like, pretty, like, new player-friendly, I would say Three Kingdoms is the most new player-friendly,
Okay.
in my experience. Because, like, my experience is Medieval 2, Shogun 2, Attila,
Hmm.
Three Kingdoms, and now Troy. Um, Troy is not, like, capturing me in the way that I want it to. I think, like, the because I've been playing as, like, the Amazon factions now, which are like within the Iliad, like mid-story factions that show up to protect Troy from the invading Greeks, and like they're fine. Like I'm playing as like the Horde Amazon, so what that means is I can't like own territories. Instead, I go around, I pillage, and I forces. But because I'm not like owning territories, I'm not gaining resources in the same way that factions are, but I'm still like expending the same resources. So I'm always operating on a deficit of like food.
Okay.
And so to keep capturing cities. And so like the whole point of like the Amazon DLC, at least the Horde Amazons, is that you're being very aggressive all the time.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Just blitzkrieg as they did in World War II.
yeah.
It's effective.
And
Hey, do you just steamroll people as the Amazons?
pretty much, like the problem being is that I can't like as the Amazon factions, you can't recruit like higher level units. You have to like raise your units to their higher levels.
Hmm.
Um, but like I'm running off like a max army right now. I can build a second one. I just like once I build my resources back up a bit longer, I can rebuild my second army and just start steamrolling dudes like left and right again. Um, but for right now, like I have a max army, which is not something that any of the AI seem to have right now. So I can just go into a city, pillage it, and take what I want without
Huh.
much fear of like being overtaken. I will say like the one thing I don't like about the Amazon that I'm playing as right now is that they can't like reinforce each other. So in Total War, like on the campaign map, if you have two armies right next to each other, if one of them gets pulled into the battle, like the army that's right next to them will be able to reinforce them. So like halfway through the encounter, it'll be like, oh, reinforcements arrived, and you'll have like 1,000 dudes, which is pretty like clutch in Three Kingdoms when you're fighting Lu Bu.
Oh yeah. You're just like,
Just-
oh man, I.
Dude,
That's how you beat them.
yeah, like the only resistance I've got from anyone when I was playing as the Yellow Turban Rebellion was like I was expanding southward and Dongzhou was like in the north, and for whatever reason it didn't activate like the narrative event where so he was always in control of like the Han Empire faction. And so like up in the north I just see Dongzhou coming up. I'm like, okay, I could just Western Army destroy this guy, and right behind him is Lu Bu's army.
Oh no.
And they like took half of my territories before I like muster enough armies to like put an end to them.
Did you end up losing that one after they destroyed your army, or did you pull through? What happened?
No, I pulled through.
Yeah.
Like I had one army that I sent to go like fight Dongzhou, and I got Dongzhou's people down, but like halfway through that encounter, it's just oh no, it's Lu Bu.
Ah,
It's just like on his fucking horse comes in and just destroys my peasant infantry.
damn.
Um,
What's the win state in Total War? Like, how do you win? Like, I guessing it's a match, right?
yeah, so like it's it's pretty much like a campaign, like campaign match. So within uh Medieval 2, like there's a number of set objectives. Within Three Kingdoms, because this is the only one that I've really messed around with enough to know. You need to basically be the surviving kingdom.
Okay.
Uh, so I played as Sun C, I think is
Yeah,
the name of
Sun
his
Tzu.
character. Yeah, Sun C. I played as him, and I played like his faction. Like you start out as his dad, and I had ended up capturing like the court of the dude who like had a claim to be emperor, so I got the claim to be the emperor. And what happens once you can declare yourself emperor in Total War Kingdoms, two other kingdoms get to do that, and you're
Oh
kicked out
wow.
of all your military alliance because everyone recognizes that you're going for the win, and
Is that
suddenly
is that
everyone wants to
Sun
kill
with
you.
his S or a Z?
That's done with an S.
Okay, yeah, that's Sun G, I guess, of the
Yeah,
Han forces. They're the red ones in Dynasty Warriors. I only know them because of colors.
yeah.
Keep going.
So like I had like completely encircled this dude's Imperial seat. I destroyed it. I captured it, and then like Lady like Zhao Zhao like was like, okay, you're no longer welcome in our alliance. You're the enemy now.
Okay.
And so there are like two other kingdoms, and you just have to capture like the seats of their empire, and then you win. Like you get an imperial and an empire victory, and then you can continue to like just dominate the map if you want to, and
Oh,
get like a total war victory.
sounds fun.
Yeah,
I
I'm not sure what the end
teach
state
me how to
of like.
teach me how to play this one time. Let's go. I'll get it on PC and show me the ropes.
I mean, I'm not particularly good, but like
Uh,
sure.
I don't know anything, but I've always wanted to play RTSs on like PC. I played Halo Wars. That's
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. I think Total War is pretty approachable, all things considered. Well, not like the franchise as a whole. Like Three Kingdoms, I would specify Three
Yeah,
Kingdoms because like it, unlike the other Total War games, it breaks your army down to three like sections, retinues at any given point in time. So you have like which are controlled by like a hero, and so you can like better like your forces in like sections. Like you have someone who has like a lot of bow infantry, someone
mm,
has like a lot of melee and spear infantry, and then like someone with some spear infantry and cavalry.
yeah. All right, so I'm gonna hit into the game I play, and then we'll head out for the day. All
Yeah,
right,
that's
so
fair.
Forza Horizon 3 is being delisted on Xbox on
That's right.
on their digital store. It was being delisted today, so I checked my Xbox yesterday, and when I bought my Xbox, it gave me a key for the digital version of Forza Horizon 3. So I was like, okay, cool. Whew, I have this already. And I was like, it's a little bit before work. What do I want to do? So I just booted it up. I haven't my racing games I played a bunch of Gran Turismo, like 2, 3, 4. I played Need for Speed, Most Wanted, like 2011, where it's an open world Burnout Paradise. So I'm like, all right, I'll be ready for this. Man, I didn't realize Forza Horizon 3 is just in Australia.
Yeah.
Have you have you played Forza Horizon 3 at all?
I've
Or any
read
of the
some coverage.
Horizons?
No, I don't play racing games.
All right, so I love racing games. I think I got my PS2. I got my PS1 and had Gran Turismo 2 on it. So I'll dabble with them every now and then. But Forza Horizon 3 just kind of opens up and they're like, hey, we're this big corporation and we're going to hold this giant music festival slash car festival in Byron Bay of Australia, which is a real place in Australia. It's like a bay on the east corner of Australia. And they
Yeah.
take some liberties with the map. But yeah, it's a real place. It's this festival and you're trying to get influencers. I this
Mm,
I this whole game, but it's so funny that I don't even care. Because when you beat a race, I got 5,500 fans for beating one of the races for experience. So the game
cool.
opens up and it's kind of telling you about the music festival, and then it just throws you in a Lamborghini in the beginning after you choose your character, and you're racing with a bunch of other Lamborghinis, and it's just teaching you to drive. So R2 is to accelerate, L2 is to brake, and you can rewind time with like the Y button. Like if you mess up and curb into the side of the road or hit
Yeah,
something, you can pull back like
that feels
3
unfair.
seconds.
I don't
It
know how to
helps.
drive in a Suzuki Reno.
I learned to drive in Grand Theft Auto, so I think that's how that goes with some people. But so you're on this straightaway in Lamborghini, so you can't really fuck up, and you're going pretty fast. And then I clip into a tree, and then a cutscene starts right when that happens, and it switches to me being a 4x4 Monster Energy truck, branded with Monster Energy truck, that just swoops over my head, drops onto a beach. Now I'm driving the Monster Energy truck and learning how to drift and do some off-road stuff. And this is the first 5 minutes of this fucking game, Austin. And it's so much. And then it gets you, and after that, does the tutorial on how to drive and stuff. It kind of throws you into the open world, and it shows you a little bit. But the first race, it actually makes you do it. It makes you do a full race, and they're like, "Hey, here's this. You're doing an off-road race first, so throws me into a buggy, and it's like, all right, you're gonna race against this old World War II Jeep. And you're like, wow, I could probably beat this World War II Jeep. And then a helicopter flies over and picks up the Jeep, and it really subverted my expectations, Austin. I love it when
Oh,
that happens. So now you're racing a helicopter with a Jeep attached to it, like with a basically pulling it. So you're racing, but you're not really racing this Jeep. It's like a cinematic race where you're by yourself, and sometimes it's like on a set course. It's always going to keep up with you, and it only drops the Jeep off at the last second for you to pull in front of it and win the race. Where I got the 5,000 fans because they were all watching that event apparently. Oh my god. First 10 minutes, it's just that, and I'm like, all right, I'm into this. It gives you some radio stations. Then the lady tells you, hey, you are now a promoter for this event. You're the person we hired. You're the guy. You're setting up this event. You're signing deals with brands. And I'm like, okay, sure. Take over this part of Australia. I'm sure you got permission for some of it, but I'm sure these streetcars are going to cause so much damage. There's just in the open world, there's just supercars driving around, weaving through regular people traffic. Oh, and I have to drive on the left lane
oh
because
Lord.
it's Australia. Also a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was getting used to that a little. So the first choice it makes you do is you pick your car. It's a Mustang GTR, which is like I think it might be the Shelby Mustang. It's like a white with the blue stripe, which is pretty popular. There's like a Nissan 2000s era Nissan. It's not like a 370Z, which is a really fast Nissan. It gives you a BMW M4, which is like their fast one. And then there's it's called a HSV Gen F Malu. I wrote this down because I didn't know what it was. So I picked the Nissan because like I want to drift. I've seen Tokyo Drift. Mustangs can't drift. You turn a Mustang and it doesn't turn. You just go fast in Mustangs. Already. And then it gives you the option to spell out your license plate. So that's where that picture I sent you. I tried to spell ass with A55, but it wouldn't let me. And then Australian editor was like, "Hey guy, this is a family show. I can't be letting you use this profanity, even though us Australians love profanity." So I did A space ZZ, and I put 69 at the end. So that's my license plate. And then you pick a station, and I was like, oh, I'll pick the EDM station. And then there's also like a European station and what I'll call is the Blink 182 station, which is called Vagrant, or the classic hip hop station with a bunch of 90s rap. It's called the Horizon Block Party. Man, it's a whole game, Austin. I played for like 2 hours. You're doing some races. It's fun. It's a big open world.
Yeah. So I
How
guess
does
like
that make you feel? How does my story make you feel? God, it's just so much.
I mean, some say fame is the only true currency.
That's true.
When governments fall, influencers will reign. Uh, I guess like the thing here is like what? Like what? So what? So you're setting up an event now? Is that what?
Yeah, so Forza Horizon, every one of them is set in an open world, and you have
Yeah.
races in the open world. And the way they explain that is it's their Forza Horizon festival. So you're the festival lead who's trying to set up all this brand stuff. So I'm trying to find racers, and I'm trying to find and I'm
So are
trying
you
to
like? So you're trying to set this up? Are you like racing people into submission? Be like, oh, you'll like they're like, oh, I'll do your event, but beat me in a street race.
yeah. So when I beat people in street races, I'm getting views on, I'm guessing, their YouTube page or something. So
Yeah.
I'm beating all these racers. I'm like, hey guys, I'm a pretty good racer. You should come to this event and listen to this music and come buy some hot dog. Excuse me, or some
Do this
Vegemite
event
because it's
pro
in
bono
Australia.
because
Yeah,
I'm so good.
and then you also like are picking radio stations for it. You're basically leveling. Your leveling is basically making this event bigger. So parts of the map unlock as bigger events and bigger races and longer races, and you're getting new cars and you're setting up your cars, and you can tune a bunch of stuff. Like you can make It's just a bunch of tuner stuff that's like brakes and which way the pull is on the wheels, which I couldn't really get into it because I don't know a lot about that. But I'll probably Google how to make the best car at some point. But the opening hour is so well done, and I'm really sad that they're pulling this off of the Microsoft Store. You can buy a used copy still. Like I checked eBay and Amazon, and you
Yeah.
can still get a physical copy of it.
Do you know why they're pulling it?
I think it's been a thing where, like every 2 years, they'll pull it because of some licensing.
Like music licensing?
Might be music, might be cars. Let me check. It's delisted. They didn't say why it was delisted, but I think the first two Forza Horizon games have also been delisted. I don't know if there's a lot of news about it, but it's pretty cheap. I saw it for like $10 on eBay. It's like a 2016 game. I haven't played a racing game in a couple years, and it was cool. I was just and the controller furiously vibrates on different styles of road. So when I'm off-roading, the controller is just going. And there's also like feedback on the triggers. So when I'm accelerating, it'll vibrate the right trigger,
Yep.
and when I'm
You got
braking,
it.
it'll do the left trigger. Yeah, and it works. It's pretty immersive. Like I'm like driving this car.
That's what they made that was the whole thing with the Xbox controllers. Like, the triggers vibrate. You can really feel
Yeah, and
the
I mostly
friction.
played PlayStation 4 games, so I didn't really know that was a thing until now. Like this is the
Yeah.
first time I ever experienced that, so that was cool.
Yeah. Because that's like a whole thing with like the DualSense now is like, like you'll be like the triggers will like vibrate and will like actually resist, in some cases will resist like being pushed down all the way. It's like
Like if your gun is
uh,
jammed.
yeah, well it's like with like I think some people have said like specific in the case of like a bow or something, like depending on how far you want to pull it back
Oh yeah.
with a dual sense, which is I don't know, a whole thing, probably don't need that really, but
Yeah, it's cool. Hey,
yeah,
it worked for a racing game. I hope there's a Gran Turismo game on PS5 that does that, because I like Gran Turismo as well. Because that one's more like, it's not an open world. You have a map and you're picking your races and you're getting new
yeah.
licenses. You start out with a really shitty car and you kind of buy some newer cars. Like I had like a '99 Lancer, Mitsubishi Lancer in my first game, and I was like, I'm gonna upgrade this a little bit and beat some people at some races, and maybe later I'll go get a BMW.
So I guess how is the open world in Horizon? Like I understand it's a racing game, so it's probably very pretty.
It's
um
beautiful. There's a beach area, a desert area. There's like a grassy, like a wooded area. There's some collectibles. Like there's some signs that I can just drive into, which kind of carries over from Burnout Paradise, and I'll get some experience points.
You mean all of Australia isn't just Fury Road?
It's true. It's not.
Oh wow,
Oh wow.
George Miller lied.
Forza Horizon, Fury Road. Make it.
That would be a better Mad Max game than the one they put out.
Yeah, that one was fine. I should play more of it, but I want a racing. I want something like this instead. That'd be cooler. What else is in the open world? You'll see drivatars, which are,
like recordings.
yeah, some of them are recordings, some of them are just pulling from your online friend list. Like there's one of my old coworkers I haven't talked to in 3 years. Her drivatar came up, and I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna race. This person just shows up in my world, and I'll race them sometimes. And you can tune the difficulty of them. And you'll see other racers. You can pull up to a racer and just challenge them, and you'll go race them. And it'll set up just a track. It'll generate a track in the open world for you to do. And then all the races are tuned for that. There's also a bunch of racer difficulties. I can turn off like anti-lock brakes, or I can turn off the rewind feature, or I can make the driver AI less aggressive, and that'll gauge how many experience points you get. Kind of like in Halo, when you make it more difficult, you'll get more experience points. Like when
Yeah,
you're adding skulls and stuff. That was cool. I would never turn any of those off because I don't hate myself. Like you can manually shift your car, and I'm like, I'm good. I'll drive an automatic.
yeah,
I like having fun, but you can get into it. Like it's Forza's always had like deep driving sim, along with them having fun in open worlds.
yeah. I've always like with racing. I've always been like a very casual person, I guess. Like I spent a lot of time driving around in Grand Theft Auto, but I feel like maybe there's something about me is like, I like the casualness of this of how you can drive in this game, but I also do need the ability to just pull over and kill some civilians if it fits my mood, because I guess I'm a terrible person.
Or get in a tank and run
Because that
people
was me
over.
when I played Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah, I was 10 when I played San Andreas, and I was just like,
Yeah,
oh wow, this is like, it's like you build a city and you're running around,
yeah.
you're playing city or whatever.
But no, Forza Horizon 3 sounds. I mean, well, Forza Horizon as like a series that sounds interesting, and where I know like most people that I know get like excited about Forza.
Yeah, and Gran Turismo really hasn't been on its ball since it has been like I feel like it was the biggest during the PS2. I know it sold decently in PS3, but people didn't like Gran Turismo Sport too much because it was less arcadey and more serious. And I guess Polyphony Digital is working on a PS5 Gran Turismo, so we'll see. I like them. It's on Game Pass. I think Forza Horizon 4 is on Game Pass. Let's see if Forza Horizon 5 is. Forza Horizon 5 is not a game yet. I don't know if it's a game.
It will be
It's
one
supposed to
day.
come out 2021 in October,
Hmm.
but Forza Motorsport 5, that's 2013. Anyway, there's a bunch of Forza games on Game Pass. I think I'm really glad Microsoft still supports like racing games because PlayStation hasn't had them. And I know there's Dirt and you can get Mario Kart, but nobody's doing open world. And Need for Speed has been disappointing too.
We need open world Mario Kart, is what you're saying.
Hey, dude, that would sell buku, man. If you made
Oh, it
it
would.
like you'd introduce people to that genre, you'd just be driving around. Do you remember how Rabbids was kinda? Where you have that open area and you're just
No,
running around?
no, I
But
can't
it's
say I do.
the Mario Kingdom and you're just driving around running over Goombas or whatever.
Yeah, Mario's in his BMW.
Yeah. Or a Mercedes. There's a Mercedes in Mario Kart 8.
Oh, it's a Mercedes. I don't know why I always think it's a BMW.
Yeah, there it is. They're both British. Yeah, it's cool. I was having fun with it.
Alright, that sounds cool.
Yeah. Well, this is where the emails would come in, but this is the first episode. So if you have any questions or you have anything you want us to talk about, we'll read them at this section. You can email us at thirdcoastgamingradio@gmail.com. All right. Hey Austin, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Beardless2.
And that's TWO.
TWO, yeah.
Because I typed in 2 by accident. I was like, oh, what's going on here? And mine is I think it's Travis23 Doyle on Twitter. Thanks for joining me, Austin.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll
I
see
need
you
to run
next
another
week.
pig inside.
Oh yes, the animals. Gotta go take care of the animals. All right, later guys. That was fun. Cool. Peace out.